Honorable members, good morning, and may we remain standing for a moment of silent prayer and meditation. Thank you very much. We may be seated. Good morning, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, members of the Provincial Legislature, the Chief Whip, leaders of political parties, ladies and gentlemen, the people of Gauteng, le baeng ba rona bo botlhe, la amogetswe, dumelang baagi ba Gauteng. I have an announcement for you, honorable members, in accordance with Part 4 of the Conflict of Interest and Disclosure Framework for members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. Members are required to disclose all their registrable interests within 30 days after the opening of the legislature or on appointment of a member. So the registrable interests are as declared may be verified by the Office of the Integrity Commissioner or any third party contracted by the GPL in writing. Without requesting any consent from the said member in terms of Part 3, Section 15, subsection 5D of the Code. In complying with the above framework, members are required to complete and submit their declaration of interest via SAP, not the South African Police, the subsystem. The system will be open from the 16th of August, which has already passed. I think it's open by now. And it will remain open until the 15th of August, 2024. Honorable members, I have received notice for member statements in terms of Rule 79, subsection 1, and member statements in terms of Rule 81, subsection 1. Honorable Dijaka.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Today I would like to pay homage to a struggle stalwart who has been an inspiration to me and many others in the country. Dear Mrs. Sophie de Bruyn, this Women's Month, we honour you as a trailblazing icon in South Africa's struggle for freedom and equality. Born in 1938 in Port Elizabeth, now Gqeberha, your journey exemplifies remarkable courage and dedication. Your leadership during the historic 1956 Women's March against apartheid pass laws was pivotal. As the youngest of the four leaders and the last surviving one, your legacy continues to inspire generations. Your personal life has been as rich as your public one. Your marriage to Henry Benny de Bruyn created a partnership built on shared values and a commitment to justice. Together you raised 3 children, instilling in them your passion for equality and human rights. As your former neighbours and colleagues in Amman, Jordan, my family and I were privileged to learn from you when you and Ambassador de Bruyn returned from exile. Your teachings during this period remain invaluable to us. Your tireless efforts in trade unions, your role in the Coloured People's Congress, and your unwavering commitment to justice have left an indelible mark on our society. Your lifelong dedication to human rights, education, and women's empowerment serves as a beacon of hope and a call to action. Thank you for your sacrifices and enduring spirit. Your story reminds us of women's power to shape a more just world while balancing family life. To a true South African heroine, whose roots in Port Elizabeth have grown into a national legacy, we salute you. Thank you.
Let me call the next person. Thank you very much, Honorable Diacher. Honorable Chabalala, okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Some of the residents of Mfuleni are still enduring the hardships of not having electricity due to malfunctioning and broken transformers. Despite numerous broken promises made by Premier Panyaza Sophie that he will fix transformers and restore electricity, which he repeated at the SOPA. The Democratic Alliance submitted a petition to the National Council of Provinces in 2002 entitled "Give Mfuleni its power back," calling for the end of electricity blackouts in areas such as Everton, Sebokeng, Sharville, Bophelong, and Buipatong. Power was nonetheless not restored. In November 2023, the Select Committee on Petitions at the NCOP held hearings, which I attended as a petitioner along with representatives from ESCOM, Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, and Mfuleni. It was resolved that the faulty transformers should be repaired and broken ones replaced by 24 March 2024. Equally, there were multiple media interviews where the Premier is on record promising to install new transformers in Mfuleni. But as of today, nothing has happened. Mfuleni ratepayers still do not have electricity. Madam Speaker, the consequences of these residents are dire. Some businesses have been forced to close. There have been an increase in crime, and academic process has been hindered due to learners' inability to study and prepare for examination. As much as Premier Sophie wants us to believe that he and his government are listening to the Gauteng residents, it seems that they have not heard those in Mfuleni who lack basic services such as electricity. Premier Sophie, it's high time that you walk the talk by giving Mfuleni residents their power back by delivering on the commitments of fixing faulty transformers and replacing broken ones. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chabalala. Honorable Tlabere.
Madam Speaker, the Finance MEC, Comrade Lebogang Maile, announced the due diligence report on the State Bank has been finalized and submitted to the Gauteng Provincial Government. This marks a significant milestone in the establishment of the State Bank, and we wholeheartedly endorse this progress. We are now well positioned to move to the next stage, which involves consulting with a broader range of stakeholders, including labor organizations. The state-owned bank is anticipated to address current market failures by integrating small, micro, and mid-sized enterprises and underdeserved individuals into the formal financial sector, driving a mission of financial inclusion and security with a unique value proposition that meets the needs of customers currently undeserved by existing banking options, offering tailored products, including a streamlined low-cost transaction product set with value-added features, with plans to expand into loan products in the future. The state-owned bank is a key mechanism to stimulate the township economy and enhance Gauteng's overall contribution to the country's gross domestic product under the capable leadership of the ANC-led government of provincial unity in Gauteng. Furthermore, the Gauteng provincial government, led by the Honorable Premier, Comrade Panyaza Sophie, has indicated that the legal due diligence for the state-owned pharmaceutical company is also at an advanced stage. The state-owned pharmaceutical company will address key areas such as institutional arrangement, supply chain management, medicine procurement, and the distribution of medicines to provincial healthcare facilities, along with the management of medicine inventory and dispensing to the public. The ANC-led Gauteng government of provincial unity plays a pivotal role in delivering services to the undeserved communities across the province. The establishment of a state-owned bank and a state-owned pharmaceutical company represent a significant victory for the citizens of Gauteng. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Malibongwe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tlabere. Honorable Musai.
Madam Speaker,
I rise to join the multitudes of South Africans as we celebrate the life of the struggle stalwart, Umama Getrutshope. On Mama Shope's 99th birthday, we remember the indelible contribution she made towards the fight for the liberation of our people. An educator by profession, Mama Shope dedicated her life to fighting for workers' rights as well as women's rights in general. It is from Mama Shope that we learn what it means to be selfless, to achieve freedom when it was not fashionable to do so. A former president of the ANC Women's League who championed the 50-50 policy, which we enjoy today in this legislature and beyond. We have Mama Shope and her fearless peers to thank for the freedoms we enjoy today. However, we owe it to a generation not to reverse the gains that came with this freedom. We dedicate the fight against patriarchy to Mama Shope, as it is what she stood firm against. Today in this country, today in this province, today in this city, and in this legislature, we honor you for the fight for the inclusion for women in the running of our country. We shall continue to fight to achieve the full economic emancipation which you fought for. And we will forever be indebted to your indomitable spirit because we are, because you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Musai. Honorable Gentile.
Madam Speaker, the members of the House and the citizens of Gauteng. Madam Speaker, I request to be recognized to make a member statement in accordance to Rule 81, Sub-Rule 1 of the Standing Rules of Gauteng Provincial Legislature. I, Vuyiswa Gentile of the ANC, table the following member statement on progress made in keeping our communities safe. I stand before this House today with a big sense of gratitude and deep reflection as we enter this new provincial government of unity. And this is because just over 2 months ago, we all went out to canvass the electorate, selling our commitment to people of this province through our manifestos. Fast forward today, the people have spoken. Madam Speaker, the people have spoken, and our people have directed us to work together, to work as different political formations to govern this province. Today, I rise to express my confidence in declaring that our ultimate goal is to be better today than we were yesterday. Moreover, to have a plan in place to help us become even better tomorrow. Madam Speaker, we applaud the work done by the Department of Community Safety in accelerating safety-related programs as pronounced by our Honourable Premier in his State of the Province address, noting that many strides in the 6 administrations were in line with the GGT 2030 priorities, which include the strengthening of the battle against crime, against corruption, vandalism, and lawlessness. This commitment has led to, amongst other things, the hiring of community wardens, the installation of CCTV cameras in all 5 corridors, and the strengthening support of the law enforcement agencies in the best resources to conduct patrols in all major highways in this province to assist in fighting crime. We support this decision to dedicate 2.3 billion to fight crime in this financial year, as this demonstrates the willingness of this government to combat crime in our province. Madam Speaker, in line with the NDP goals, the community safety must strengthen its focus that all people are safe, both in their private and public spaces in this province. This administration must work very hard to reduce priority crimes, crimes against women and children, social crimes, crime prevention management and reduction of corruption and reduction of road fatalities in our province. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I want to borrow the words of the late President Rolihlahla Mandela when he said, "Safety and security don't just happen. There is a result of collective consensus and public investment, and we owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in this society, a life free of violence and fear." Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gentile. Honorable Honorable Sesedinyane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In accordance with Rule 81, I, Honorable Sesedinyane of the African National Congress, tables the following member statement on building Gauteng we want. Madam Speaker, one of the African National Congress commitment is to strengthen the capacity of the state to deliver quality service to our people. The President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Matamela Ramaphosa, introduced the district development model at the beginning of the 6th administration in 2019. This initiative was conceived to ensure that a significant intervention to improve integrated planning and delivery across all 3 tiers of the state is realized. Honorable members, as the African National Congress, we reaffirm our commitment to see this process being carried through into the 7th Gauteng Provincial Unity Government. It is our considered view that we have undertaken enough self-introspection, in-depth, objective analysis and reflection on the success and challenges of developing a strong institutional framework that seeks to guide the delivery of service by various municipalities within Gauteng landscape. It is for this reason, therefore, we support the concept of one plan as contained in the DTM model. Honorable Speaker, we remain highly confident that the initiative to have one single type of local government must be realized to help create the delivery of service much faster to all deserving communities across the length and the breadth of Gauteng province. Madam Speaker, in practical terms, this means that all service delivery intervention, including improving of access to water, areas such as Hammanskraal, provision of sanitation, supply of electricity and housing, and construction, upgrading of roads in areas that are still under-serviced, including completion of urban renewal project in certain parts of Joburg that needs to be undertaken conclusively. We so looking forward to the exciting the 7th administration in term and applaud the Premier of Gauteng for making bold statement of reaffirming his commitments towards growing Gauteng Together's concept. As I sit down, thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sesedinyane. Honorable Mfikwe. Honorable Mfikwe.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Good morning to the leadership led by the Premier, honorable members, and members of the public, and all Gauteng residents. We take this moment, Madam Speaker, to congratulate Comrade Sillo Daramrero on his election as the Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg. As a public management scholar with a bachelor's, postgraduate diploma, and a master's degree in the field, Comrade Dara serves the city as an official and also as a PR councillor, moving on to the MMC for finance position. He brings a wealth of experience to the mayoral office. An astute politician, a master tactician, a former student leader of the Congress of South African Students. He served as the Regional Secretary of the African National Congress before assuming his current position as the Regional Chair of Johannesburg. Following on both the President and the Premier's leads, our Executive Mayor intends on fostering a rapid accelerated service delivery program that will deliver services to the residents of the City of Johannesburg timeously and efficiently. The Joburg ANC, Madam Speaker, has full confidence in the leadership of Comrade Dada as Executive Mayor of this great city of ours and his executive, who have been entrusted with the responsibility to carry the hopes and aspirations of millions of downtrodden people of Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, the mandate of revitalizing the inner city, to the inner city that we can all work, play, and live in, bringing in the government closer to the people with accelerated service delivery, is a commitment that the new mayor comes into office with. The claiming back and repurposing of the hijacked buildings into productive use, attracting business and investments, and also building a smart city connected through digitization are all apex priorities that the Mayor has been entrusted with, together with his executive in the government of local unity. And we have no doubt that this capable leadership will deliver on this mandate as we work towards a decisive ANC victory in 2026. Madam Speaker, we are looking forward to a new Joburg as we strive to see a beautiful city, because Johannesburg is our first love. Remojo, ke a itebogela, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mfikwe. Honorable Meso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise on a Rule 81 on member statement. My name is Nomthandazo Miso from Umkhonto Wesizwe Party. As we are about to conclude Women's Month celebration, we must not fail to indicate our disheartening of what is happening in Gaza, Palestine, where women and children are butchered by Netanyahu-led government of Israel, backed by American financial and military aid support. There can be no freedom of South African women without the freedom of Palestinian women who are murdered, butchered, and raped by Israel defense every hour. We call upon all African women in South Africa to stand with the Palestinian and Western Saharan women. As we reflect on the legacy of the courageous women of 1956 who stood up against oppressive law, we must remember that their determination and resilience continue to inspire us today. They fought for their beliefs and set powerful precedent for future generations. However, Madam Speaker, as we engage in the ongoing struggle for women's rights, it is disheartening to acknowledge that even after 30 years of democracy, women and children still suffer from dehumanization. They are often reduced to objects of oppression by those who once experienced oppression themselves. Women continue to lack freedom of speech and genuine voice in matters affecting their lives day to day. It is, Madam Speaker, it is imperative that we unite and fight for the total liberation, because true progress will not come without a relentless struggle. We must ask our question: what legacy we will leave for the next generation to come? What will they remember us for if we allow the status quo to persist unchallenged? Let us stand together and advocate fearlessly for the rights and freedom that everyone deserves to live under. As Gauteng Umkhonto Wesizwe women, we stand with the Palestinian and the South Saharan women. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Meso. Honorable Dr. Masuku.
Corruption and lawlessness and vandalism as an epic battle for the soul of our province. It was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle who reminded us in his book, The Cooper Breaches, when he wrote that crime is common, logic is rare, therefore it is upon that logic rather than upon the crime that you should dwell. It is for this reason that we must commend the logical approach that this government has taken in fighting crime in our province. The Integrated Crime and Violence Prevention Strategy of 2022, which is one of the guiding policy instruments used in combating crime, sets out a comprehensive collaborative framework for the whole of government and society to approach crime and violence prevention. The ICVPS aims to promote the implementation of an integrated, developmental, collaborative, knowledge and evidence-based approach to the prevention of crime and violence in South Africa. It is abundantly clear that Gauteng e-policing approach is not only logical and aligned to ICVPS, but also that is yielding great success in our province. The deployment of the e-panic buttons and the use of CCTV cameras in partnership with the private sector and municipalities has shown that the importance of collaboration. Some of the recent successes in collaboration between Gauteng Provincial Government and Vumakem include, on the 5th of August 2024 in Boysens, SAPS, the police wardens and Blue Hawk Security located a red Ronald wanted for involvement in a hit-and-run incident. On the 6th of August 2024 in GP, the SAPS and the provincial police wardens were dispatched to locate a wanted quantum minibus. On the 8th of August 2024 in Pretoria, the SAPS located a wanted Toyota traveling in Pretoria area. The driver was escorted to Pretoria Central and he was confirmed to be a suspect in a murder crime. In conclusion, these incidences remind us that we have an active role to play in the battle for the soul of our province. In doing so, let us draw courage from the words of Mama Charlotte when she said, "This work is not for yourselves. Kill the spirit of self and do not live above your people, but live with them. And if you can rise, bring someone with you." I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Masuku. Honorable members, let's proceed then with our meeting. I have a number of apologies that were submitted. Honorable D. Adams is attending an NCOP workshop in Cape Town, together with Honorable Tulani Kunene and Honorable Mukhobe. Honorable M. Chilwani is attending a meeting in Cape Town. Honorable M.S. Koma has got party commitments, and Honorable Poho will debate in his place. Honorable M.J. Maluka has got family responsibility. Honorable Elma Ile has got bereavement in the family. Honorable Mhlakaza Manamela is not feeling well. And the last apology is from Honorable T. Motara. Honorable members, we have in our midst stakeholders from Tsakani. I think there's 15 of them. We've got 30 also from Katlehong. We also have 16 stakeholders from Mohali City. We are also joined by 40 stakeholders who are students and lecturers from the University of Johannesburg, from the Department of Languages, Cultural Studies, and Applied Linguistics. In terms of the application of the rules, honorable members, Rule 80, subsection 2, read with section 117 of the Constitution, which speaks to freedom of speech, provides as follows. In accordance with section 117(1)(a) of the Constitution, members must be allowed to speak and debate freely in the House and its committees, as and when recognized by the presiding officer in line with the orders of the day and the speaking list. The Constitution further gives members freedom of speech in the legislature, subject to its rules and orders. Both principles, the principle of freedom of speech and the standing rules of the are fundamental in ensuring orderly debate and effective conduct of parliamentary business. The standing rules relating to order and debate are aimed at not limiting freedom of speech, but at guiding debate in the context of freedom of speech so as to allow reasonable and open consideration of controversial issues. The rules also seeks to promote the responsible exercise of the privileges of freedom of speech, and furthermore, procedures imposed by the rules are designed to allow this to be done in an orderly fashion. Rule 77, subsection 5, which speaks to speeches and open time in debates, provides that at the end of each speech, according to the speaking list, any member, including members who have already spoken in the debate, may indicate to the presiding officer that he or she wishes to ask a question or make a remark directly related to the speech. Here, the members may rise at the end of the speech to indicate to the presiding officer that he or she wishes to ask a question or make a remark. members may not interrupt during the speech to ask question or make a remark. So, Rule 77, subsection 8 provides as follows. The presiding officer must use his or her discretion to call on members to speak during open time. Rule 83, subsection 2 provides as follows. A member who wishes to speak in a debate but is not on the speaking list must indicate his or her wish to the presiding officer by rising in his or her seat or by a show of hand. Members, I am sharing this with you so that we keep the debate as orderly as possible. Rule 88, which speaks to interruptions, provides as follows. Members may interrupt a member who is speaking in a debate only to do one of the three: raise a point of order, raise a matter of privilege, or call attention to the presence of an unauthorized person in the chamber here. Rule 94, which speaks to respect for presiding officers. In the House, every member of the legislature must bow to the presiding officer when passing in front of his or her seat. I hope, honorable members, this explanation will assist members in correctly applying the rules during the debates of the House. Can the Secretary please read the first order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Debate on the Premier State of the Province Address. Thank you.
Honorable Msimanga.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Premier, members of the House, members of the public, and the people of Gauteng at large, ke a le dumedisa. For the second time this year, we've had an opportunity to hear from the Premier in terms of outlining his plans to improve service delivery in this province. Sadly, again, we've had more of the plans, more of slogans, and very little in terms of what is actually going to be done in terms of really turning the people's lives around. And this has been a trend since, again, in 2022, October. We want to know what is it that is going to be done in terms of improving service delivery. The residents of Gauteng are actually also now given much more false hope. But ma'am, I'm not here this morning to go on a bashing streak, because I met with a very wise man last week who said to me that let's move beyond the politics of engaging on personal issues and get on to how do we work together to substantiate the service delivery that we need to be giving to the people of Gauteng. So I'm taking a leave from there. And I'm hoping that my team and I will lead in that particular space, Premier. One of the things that has come out was that we looked at the quarterly labor force survey that has just come out. And yes, indeed, Gauteng is now leading in terms of the jobs that have been created. And one of the things that you always talk about is evidence-based practices. And part of evidence-based practice, as I said, and you accused me of lecturing the last time when we engaged. I said, in meta theories, one of the things that you look at is what gets to be put in as the work-based trial and error, that you then put in the practitioner experiences that you put in there and expertise that you put in there. The other thing is that you then get feedback and then you do peer review, and then how you then deal with the implementation and the corrections thereof. One of the things that come up when you're looking at this quarter survey is that the jobs are created, but we don't really know where the jobs are created, how long they are sustained for, and all of that. One of the things that we need to do as government, Premier, is to then look at what is it that is creating jobs in Gauteng. How are jobs created? Are there issues relating to service delivery that is creating a stumbling block in terms of where the jobs are to be created? How do we then open those channels? How do we then remove those stumbling blocks in order to make sure that we can create much more needed jobs? The statistics essay also paints a very bleak picture in terms of what is happening not only in Gauteng but in a number of provinces around us. Northwest has got now 60% plus of people that are unemployed. Limpopo is also sitting with a high number of unemployed people, Mpumalanga as well. That means that these are the people that, if they cannot find jobs there, they will look into Gauteng. Now, when they look into Gauteng, the question is, what do we do when they come into Gauteng? Do we have enough jobs to absorb the labor force that is coming in? Do we have enough spaces, and a decent accommodation to be able to then accommodate those that will be coming into Gauteng? And these are things that we will talk to as we go, Premier, because I think we need to be finding solutions to these things. When we look at those that have actually then given up looking for jobs, it's a very scary number that we're looking at. Those that are not even in training are actually then going to fall even behind in terms of being able to then access, the job market. But more worryingly is a study that is now being conducted that says that South Africans right now are actually then becoming more and more unsuitable for the jobs that they're studying for. In the future, we are going to find that more and more people have studied for degrees, for diplomas, for skills that are not actually required going forward. And I think when we welcome what you said, when you say that we need to look at training initiatives. But the question is, when we're doing, again, evidence-based, is when are we doing projections, are we really bringing people into the suitable job market? That's one of the things that we're going to need to be talking to. Long-term job opportunities are becoming harder to come by, and short-term opportunities provide us, our residents, with an opportunity to put food on the table. But the economy is not growing as fast as it's supposed to be growing. In fact, the projection is that we are only going to be growing by 1.6%. The Reserve Bank is actually then more optimistic and say we're going to grow by 1.9. In Gauteng, we have to do much better than that, looking at the migration of the people that are coming into Gauteng that are going into the Western Cape. So, Premier, what we need to then be talking to is how do we then make sure that the economy is growing in the rate that it's supposed to be growing, and actually the people that are flocking into Gauteng are actually able to then be accommodated. You begin to answer that, Premier, you get to a stage where you will find that all the social ills that we have been dealing with become a thing of the past. Nobody has time to steal if they have a job to go and work it well, unless those that are very greedy and want to steal from the poor. But instead, those that are really finding themselves looking for a job and finding themselves not being able to provide themselves resort to unsavory things like stealing, like breaking infrastructure. And when we start addressing that, you'll find that in the long term, these things will then begin to eliminate the social ills that we find ourselves. But Premier, I'm very disappointed that we have 32,000 young people that were employed as teacher assistants. Well, we need a whole lot of them in Gauteng. And when they were promised that, they will be sustained for another 12 months, and that yet the contracts have been cut. I've met with one of them by the name of Mbali Matiwan, who's coming from Davidton, who said that, she was actually hoping that she would be able to then use that to finalize her studies, to be able to be a qualified teacher and to be able to then get into, the teaching profession on a permanent basis. Now, these are things that we need to be addressing and say, when we're introducing opportunities and we say certain things, we must actually commit to those things and see them through, not commit to certain things and halfway then cut them through. This is what is the problem with the promises that have been made, that, promises are made, decisions are, or there's announcements on certain things, but they're not actually then carried through. And this is actually now adding to a worrying thing of thousands of young people that only are not employed, but they are losing hope of ever getting employment opportunities. These are things that I would ask that we look into on a serious note, Premier. For a long time, we have been calling for Gauteng's government under the leadership of Ndate David Makura and later yourself to start building a capable state. And when we look at the GGT 30, it talks about capable state. When you're looking at the NDP, it talks about building a capable state. But if we were to be honest, Premier, and do an assessment in terms of where we are, GGT 30 is supposed to be at 2030, we're supposed to have reached certain milestones. When you're looking at the NDP, by 2030, we're supposed to be reaching certain milestones. And the NDP is now close on 15, 16 years. If you look at where we are, can you honestly Honestly, can you say we have done progress? Because part of evidence-based is to then say, am I making progress, am I not making progress based on evidence? And if you're not making progress, what is it that you're doing to then change, the issues that are hindering your capability? For a capable state to be built, Premier, several things need to be done and needs to be put in place. One is that we now need to make sure that people that are in charge of ensuring that certain things are done are actually held to making those things to be done. Gone should be the days that people are getting salaries, people are getting bonuses, but then when you then start identifying what is it that they're doing, they're adding no value. Some of them are dead woods who are able to tell politicians that you know about them. We should get to a stage where we're saying to people, you are here to do a job. If you're not going to do that job, please move. There are thousands and thousands of people that are looking for a job and can actually do the job. What we need to be looking at is performance agreements that are not only signed by the heads of departments and the senior management, but also all MECs. And that needs to be made public so that all the members of the community of Gauteng can know that this is what government has committed to. And if these things are not reached, we need to know why they're not reached. If they are reached, then we'll congratulate you and we will actually encourage you to do more. We need to make sure that there's also lifestyle audits. I heard you speaking about the lifestyle audits that has been done about, for senior managers. My question is, what has happened to the politicians? Why are politicians not included in the lifestyle audits as well? So can I ask that they are included, those results that are made public, because then it talks to a whole of government that talks to not only the officials, but also talks to the politicians that are in the cabinet that are part of decision making. Those lifestyle audits must be made public. You might have said that has been conducted by the state, but if that is the case, then those results must be made public. We must know what are those results telling us. You've made a commitment about the releasing of the officials' lifestyle audit, but we are asking, release those that are also of the politician. You also talked about ensuring that we're able to then fight the issue of corruption. One of the biggest challenges that we're sitting with is that the whistleblowers in Gauteng are still not protected. Babita is one of those. We still owe answers in terms of what happened to that poor woman. There are so many people who want to come out and report on things that are wrong in government, but they're scared of doing that because there is no clear plan in terms of protecting whistleblowers. This is something that I think you need to then build into a capable state. How do we then protect those that are willing to come up and report on wrongdoing? Once again, we need to make sure that we address a number of issues that also hinders on Gauteng's ability to move on into providing better services to its people. You speak about the e-tolls in your address, and you say that the e-tolls are a thing of the past and we're doing away with e-tolls. We welcome that. What we don't welcome is this, that there is now, by the end of September, 2.8 billion that is supposed to be coming from Gauteng to pay for this. This is no new money. It means that there's a school that is not going to be built somewhere. It means that we are taking money from the NGOs. It means that we're not able to buy more vehicles for police. We're not able to to recruit and employ more policemen and nurses and those 32,000, teacher assistants that we're talking about, because we are now paying for the mistakes that National has done of coming up with a project that they didn't think through and thought that they would be able to slip it through the systems and the people of Gauteng will say yes to. Unfortunately, the people have said no, but we are now still going to be paying for that. So people might think that we're not paying for the e-tolls, but we're still going to be paying for the e-tolls. We might not be paying through the gantries, but the fact of the matter is there's almost 13 billion rand that has to be paid by this government. Yes. And it's known, there's no new money. National Treasury has said there's no new money that is going to be coming from provinces. There's no new money that is going to be going to provinces. It means that we are going to find sources within government here and cut on things that are already in existence. So, Premier, I think you must tell the people that this is what we are going to be cutting. We are not going to be building new hospitals. We are not going to be building new schools because we have to pay for e-tolls. And it goes beyond that. We are now sitting with a situation where part of the maintenance of national roads is now falling onto Gauteng. So it means that we're not going to be able to then have enough money to maintain our own provincial and local roads, because now we are going to still continue to pay for these national roads. And I think this is a little bit of a tragedy here that is befalling the people of Gauteng. You speak about the schools, the 5 schools that have now received generators. We're sitting with over almost 4,000 schools in Gauteng, Premier. And I don't know why would we celebrate only 5 schools as having generators. One thing I want to propose is this. Are we able to then say, instead of buying generators, we have schools that have been designed that have flat roofs. Why are we not investing in solar for the schools to make sure that they do have that backup if they need that? Why are we not doing that? Because it will also even reduce the bill that sometimes the Department of Education is unable to then pay. And then you would have schools that have to be cut by municipalities. So now there's a solution that we are providing to then say, let's look at the alternative sources of energy that are there, including the solar panels that can be procured and be able to then be put up in schools, and that will assist in that particular setup there. The other issue that you raised was the issue of what we do in terms of attracting investment, and one of the two of the companies that you're talking to was Transnet and also AXA. This is actually, I find it very much interesting and yet at odds with what National Treasury is saying, because National Treasury says there's no new money that is going to be coming in. In fact, they are calling on the curbing of investment because there's no money that is coming in. So when you say that there is money that is coming from Transnet to invest in Gauteng, take the people of Gauteng into confidence and tell them, how is that money being structured and where is it coming from? If there's money that is coming from AXA, where is that money coming from? And why is the contradiction in terms of what the National Treasury is saying versus what you were saying, the Premier? So if we can then begin to then talk to those things, maybe we'll be able to then say there is a plan that is not only, wishful thinking or just things that are being said, but it is backed by this particular evidence. It is backed by this particular commitment that we can then say we'll keep track on that. One of the issues that for me is very close to my heart is this. We've been told for a number of years that the hostels and the townships will be redeveloped and will be uplifted. I've been to Madala Hostel. I've been to Helen Joseph Hostel. Not when, 2 weeks ago. And I wouldn't want even the worst of my enemies to live in those particular spaces. Wouldn't want. I found a gentleman who literally was sleeping next to feces. Literally where they are. When you enter Madala Hostel, there's a container. That first room that is there, there's a gentleman who stays there. He says, where else will I go? So this gentleman is sleeping there. There's feces that are passing there. And we have been talking about the upgrading of hostels for a very, very long time. Before your time, Premier Makura have been talking about the work that is being done, the amount of money that is being pumped into hostels. I find it sad that we are willing to put in Wi-Fi connection, yet we don't even have proper sewer that is connected to that. That cannot be. It cannot be that you have a situation where people are sleeping with no windows during winter, yet we are told that people are, can have Wi-Fi. Let's get the Maslow, hierarchy of needs in order here and make sure that we're able to then cover the basics first, and then we can move on to these other things. I am not by any way saying that the people of these areas don't deserve, things like Wi-Fi. But I'm saying these are things that are secondary. Let's deal with the issues that are primary. But I'm also saying to you, there seems to be a lot of rot that is taking place around Helen Joseph and around the Madala Hostel. We are told of over 100 million that has been spent to fix Madala Hostel. And when I was there was nothing that suggests over 100 million that has been spent there. We were told that the roof has been fixed in that particular space, that there's new roof that is there. Please go to the B section where the kitchens are. There's not even a single zinc sheet that is there. Yet we are told that money is being spent. So I go back to what I said to you before. When we spend money, let's go and do an assessment of where money is spent and the impact that it is having on the people that money is spent on. So if we're able to then do that, I think we will be able to then start moving in the right direction, Premier. One of the other issues is that we are told that there needs to be a revitalization of our townships. One of the greatest tragedies that municipalities have failed to invest in the infrastructure of municipalities. And this is why I had said to you, and I've said to MEC Mamabolo, part of what we now need to then do is to look at the coordination of what is happening with COGTA, with the Department of Infrastructure, because there needs to be a singular plan of all municipalities when it comes to the issues of infrastructure. It cannot be that we continue to plan in silos and thinking that we're going to be able to resolve the issues of housing. It's not going to happen. What we need to then do is to then say, what are we doing with water as a province? What are we doing with electricity as a province? What are we doing with roads as a province? And how do we then connect that? And if municipalities are not able to raise the enough funds to be able to then deal with this infrastructure that they need to be dealing with, we need to then say, from a provincial perspective, what do we do to raise money as a province and then be able to then take money to ensure that these projects are then being addressed to. So this is one of those things that we are saying that we need to then be addressing as a matter of agency. And we do that, I do believe that it will go a long way in changing the face of our townships, because then the infrastructure will begin to then improve in that particular space, and it will improve the people's life. Long gone should be the days where we're finding that, the sewer that is going all over our streets. Long gone should be the days where you are saying that we're still dealing with the issues of transformers. And I can tell you, Premier, one of the things that is coming up is that some of the transformers that you've already put up are already being blown. Why? Because we are only going and we're doing temporary solutions. There is a long-term problem that is there. The problem is that we are overloading these transformers because of all the illegal connections that are taking place there. So let's look at the redesign of that infrastructure and say, how do we then address this problem long-term instead of having the short-term solutions? Yes, there are people who are deserving electricity, but then it's like we're throwing money down the drain if we just go put transformers that 2 months down the line they get blown up because we're not addressing what is the the extension of the problem. So I'm saying let's look at that as a solution then going forward. One of the other issues that you have raised and I want to speak about is the issue of the stipends that normally gets to be counted as money that is going to learners. Where is this money coming from? Initially, we were told that, the stipends that will be given will be 7,000. And then it changed. People were promised 3,000, and now it is 2,000. And I'm not too sure which one is the real figure. Where is that money coming from? What are we doing to make sure that these stipends are not only stipends that we're paying to sustain short term, but we're able to then start investing in long term. So that we're able to then create more permanent jobs, if you understand what I'm saying, Premier. This is what I'm asking of you. Instead of just saying we are going to help people for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, what are we doing to take some of this money to invest in long-term job opportunities that we can then give the people? We have had over 100 million that has been spent through the SOPA 100 million. And I've asked, what did we really get out of it? What did we really get out of the money that we have invested in the young people, while we are told that the majority of the unemployed people in Gauteng are actually young people? And when you look at the money that has been spent, it has been spent on stipends, not on investing on infrastructure or investing on the creation of those job opportunities. So I'm saying, let's invest on those things that will create the jobs, not just give money away for the sake of giving money. So this is one of the things that I would want to then deposit with you. I don't know, I've heard a number of speeches here about the ability of government to now go and open up a state-owned bank. I'm finding it very difficult that you have JEP as an example, and you have what is the other one? You have JEP and you have the GGDA, which is supposed to actually be vehicles in terms of how we drive the economy and how do we then assist in terms of the gap funding and in terms of closing that space and where people are wanting to find funding for their businesses or to be linked with established business. Yet we are told that we will now start something else. So what is the point of us having all these things if we are going to then look at a separate entity that is going to be there? Please accept that we will be skeptical because government hasn't been very good at having entities that have been working very, very well. I can give you a number of examples, of these. And we are saying that until we can see that those that are already government-owned are doing their job, the entities that are government-owned are doing their jobs in a proper way, we will always continue to be skeptical in that regard. So, Premier, I don't want to go forever and ever here, still got some time, but We are saying to you that we want to have a conversation. We're having a conversation. You will hear some of the solutions that have been proposed here. We are saying to you, if we're serious about turning the people's lives around in Gauteng, some of the things that you said you want to do, let them be done. Let them be transparently reported to the people of Gauteng. And let the progress be recorded so that everybody knows where we are. If we're able to then do that, we can deal with the issues of crime. We can deal with the issues of economic changes for the people. We can deal with the issues of infrastructure that is decaying, and we can then see an upward trend in the movement from there. We can deal with the issues of assisting municipalities that are now struggling financially, that are struggling to keep up with the infrastructure maintenance. We can deal with the issues of getting rid of corrupt officials in government that can actually then open up for spaces for people to come in who will be able to then do the job and do the job correctly. We can now get to a Gauteng that will breathe life into the rest of South Africa. You speak about other municipalities or other towns like Harrismith that you spoke about. I am saying let's start at home. Let's get it right. Let's get Mfuleni right. Let's get Sidibeng right. Let's get Mohale right. Mohale is okay, but let's get Western right. Let's get all these other municipalities right. And then you will see that they will begin to be the engineers and the drivers of the economic change that we want to see for our people here. And if we can do that, Gauteng will be a place, again, a place of golden opportunities. And these are things that are now resting on you to make sure that it happens. We're more than happy to talk to you and work with you around the solutions. But again, as the wise man said to me last week, let's all forget about petty party politics. Let's engage on how we're able to then build a Gauteng that works for all its people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Msimanga. Honorable Makubela.
Madam Speaker, and presiding officers, those who are here and those who are in absentia, the Honorable Premier of our globally renowned province, Comrade Banyazali Sophie, the members of the executive, leaders of all political parties in the government of provincial unit and those outside, leaders of all political parties and members of the provincial legislature, the staff of the Gauteng legislature in their respective capacities. You hardly get recognized despite the critical role that you continue to play in ensuring that our sittings and meetings are convened successfully. Today, we want to say we thank you. I see the retired Jenny is there at the top. I did tell her that she's going to come back. She's going to miss us. It has been a pleasure to having you here. Members of the media that are present in the media gallery, the people of Gauteng that has joined us in the public gallery, and those that are watching us in virtual platforms. Madam Speaker, allow me as well to send my most sincere and deepest of condolences to Honorable Lebohang Maile, who lost his son, and we offer our sincere condolences and prayers during this difficult period. Allow me as well to send our sincere and deepest condolences to the family, friends in the academia of Professor Emeritus Moshe Nkondlo. Professor Nkondlo was a towering intellectual and was rooted in the teachings of the African National Congress. His older brother, Zaba, was the chair of the group of 10 that included Krizanius, who were expelled from the ANC, but who were very influential in shaping the ANC as we know it today, and he later died in Quatro. Madam Speaker, the debate on the state of the province address is convened during a historic month in our calendar, the month of August, normally referred to as the Women's Month. It is during this month that we find time to reflect on the heroic role played by the women of 1956, just like Mayor Sophie de Bruyn, who was today honored by one of our members from the Democratic Alliance, and we thank you for that. The immense contribution and sacrifices of these women in the liberation struggle continue to inspire and shape our political and ideological outlook. Following the Great Depression in the United States in the 1930s, when the economy was on its knees, and following the Second World War that bankrupted the European nations and Western nations, following Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima, Japan became one of the most impoverished nations in the world. It was yesterday that what is today known as the Asian Tigers, meaning nations comprising of Taiwan, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Singapore, were referred to for known as the wretched of the earth. Today, they are at the summit of economic growth, and they keep on growing. Why? I believe that the Premier answered that question last week when, in his speech, every paragraph read investment, investment, investment. Honorable Nell, I saw you struggling later that evening doing an interview, disagreeing with him. And I knew that he has hit the right notes. This is the answer that the Premier gave us during this speech at the opening of the legislature. Honorable members, no one will be able to solve the problems that face the people of our country and province except those who are elected here. It won't take one political party. It will take all of us working together to resolve the stubborn challenges that face all of us. 93% of the so-called minerals of the future, Honorable Premier, are found in South Africa, with more than 40% of those minerals found in our province. Then why so much poverty? It's because we have become the highest exporters of raw materials and the highest importers of manufactured goods. We need to do what you've asked us to do. Invest in building factories, invest in building processing plants, invest in ensuring that these raw materials, which are critical for all these things that make the fifth industrial revolution what it is, they are processed here at home and then are taken out later. Without our minerals, there can be no transition to green energy, which is highly dependent on lithium. There can be no electric cars. There can be no 3D printing. There can be no robotics. There can be no smartphones. There can be no iPads. There can be no smartwatches, no drones, and no driverless cars. All the minerals that make all this thing work are found in Gauteng, including silicon, Honorable Msimanga, which you rightfully spoke about, converting some of the flat roofs and turning them into solar panels so that we can self-generate our own electricity. The silicon is found in this particular province, and the mines which mine silicon both in Gauteng and Limpopo remain non-functional, and the only one that is functioning literally takes it out of the country unprocessed to China. That could have created thousands of jobs, and that's why we need to heed the call of the Premier of Gauteng, which says, let's attract investment. Let's bring investment so that these processing plants can come here. Madam Speaker, the Department of Stats SA recently revealed that the Gauteng ANC-led provincial government recorded the largest increase of employment in Q2 of 2024. And of course, while the Western Cape recorded the largest decrease. This for us, together with the 800 billion investment which is coming here in this country, mainly from the private sector, it's an affirmation to what we are doing here in Gauteng. It's an affirmation to the vision that the Premier Sophie has actually articulated very well. It's an affirmation that if we can work together, if we can make this government of provincial unity work, more investment is going to come. The Fort now has invested an extra 6 billion, Honorable Premier, into the fourth manufacturing plant at the Tshwane Special Economic Zone. You know what happened, how we got that plant. Brazil was given the responsibility to build that plant. And when they took long to build it, and when they could not, Ford disinvested in Brazil and brought those funds here in South Africa, where it's creating 11,000 jobs in the city of Tshwane. I heard you mentioning cities that we must resuscitate, we must rebuild, we must rescue, and I agree with you. But the most broken city is the city of Tshwane. It's a city that we need to rescue. It's the city that we need to rescue from maladministration, from corruption. We nearly lost that investment. We nearly lost 11,000 jobs because bulk services could not be taken to that particular project. And this we're not saying to score cheap, petty political points. We're saying it genuinely. And because we want to build that city with you. We want to build a city that is able to attract investment, create jobs, and resolve all our problems. You did the same thing, Honorable Nell, when the Premier spoke that for the past 3 months we've not had load shedding. And you shouted together with the battalions and the troops of your party and said, load reduction. I want to school you because this is a complex engineering concept. Load shedding and load reduction, two different concepts. Load shedding implemented by ESCOM because there is no sufficient energy generated. Load reduction implemented by municipalities because of exactly what the Premier has been doing. Going around fixing transformers because a lot of our people are connected illegally to the grid. A lot of our people are overburdening the grid. And therefore, that's why municipalities are implementing load reduction
honourable members,
to save
order,
critical infrastructure.
Order, honourable members.
Madam
order,
Speaker.
Order. Pause your time. Pause his time.
Madam Speaker.
Order, honourable members, order. Listen to him. You may proceed, Honourable Makubela.
Thank you very much. You might not like what I say, but just listen to me. We need to, Honourable Premier, instead of continuing to buy these transformers, we need to work with municipalities to invest in technology that is able to save critical infrastructure in load reduction. When transformers explode, when substations explode due to overloading, due to illegal connections, we need to come up with technology that is able to save this critical infrastructure. Therefore, load shedding, Honourable Nell, is not load reduction, Honourable Nell, is not load shedding. The Minister of Electricity has announced that now we have a new problem. We are generating an excess of about 3,000 megawatts. We don't even know what to do with it. Maybe you must give us an idea what to do with this extra capacity which we are regenerating. Madam Speaker, whilst I willingly align to the point by the Premier, Madam Speaker, the Department of State SA revealed that the Gauteng ANC-led provincial government recorded the largest increase of employment in Q2 of 2024.
Honourable Makubela, time.
Thank you very much.
Honourable Poho.
Thank you very much. Greetings, Madam Speaker, the Honourable Premier, Honourable members of the Legislature, and most importantly, to the people of Gauteng Province. Today marks almost 2 years since Honourable Sophie took the helm of Gauteng Province. It also marks 2 years since the people of this province were promised an end to load shedding. We promised an end to the unrelenting crime. We promised an end to the staggering youth unemployment. We promised an increase in the capacity of public schools. We promised reliable water services and an end to the scourge of zamazamas who continue to terrorize our communities. Madam Speaker, we mark these 2 years as lost years. While the Premier can be proud that according to him, load shedding is a thing of the past, we cannot sit here and proudly affirm that notion. Yes, the community of Amarasta that he mentioned last week has been electrified, but the communities of West Rand, in Waterworks, Zirbekom, Spooktown, in Begestal, today still remain without adequate electricity. The Premier says the opening of John Way and Durban Street open cycle gas turbines, the province will be able to generate a combined load of about 3,100 megawatts. Our worry is not that 3,100 megawatts is not enough. Our worry is that history has taught us that ANC-run projects do not pick up. And when they do, certain tenderpreneurs have to benefit 50% from the operational budget before services can be rendered to our people. As the EFF, our stance has remained that this province must embark on a rigorous strategy to generate its own electricity. In fact, Madam Speaker, whilst the Premier and his team are trying to implement the EFF manifesto and establish a state-owned bank, Gauteng province should be prioritizing the establishment of state-owned mining company to manage coal mines owned by ESCOM to ensure quality supply of coal and afforded services. And this is not limited to only coal, but other minerals that Honorable Makubela spoke of as well. Madam Speaker, even if we're able to secure optimal energy without the security of electricity supply in this province, it's always hindered by theft, vandalism, and damage of critical electricity equipment, such as transformers. When the Premier stood up to address the energy issue, one of his proudest declarations was that repairing 485 transformers across the province. As the EFF, we believe that the province must invest in the security of critical equipment by investing in tamper-proof equipment and the actual security of engineers whose life are at risk whenever they are deployed to deal with technical issues on site. Madam Speaker, the province of Gauteng must seriously relook their so-called job creation strategy. The idea that the youth of this province must be absorbed into EPWP programs as a route to job creation is unrealistic and unsustainable. It remains our position that we need radical economic development and output for the benefit of our landless and dejected masses. This administration cannot go hand in hand to private capital asking for economic opportunities like a bunch of hobos. We must invest and we must create sustainability. We are told that Vodacom would invest 3 billion. ABSA has committed 200,000. CNS Beverages will invest 300 million in Mitra, and Pepsi Cola will also invest 15 smallholder grain farming entities. But where is the actual building of state capacity? Should the people of this province thank Vodacom and Pepsi Cola for economic development, then perhaps CEO of Pepsi Cola and Vodacom should run this province. Reindustrialization means creating specialized economic zones, like the one in Val, to expand these across the province. We must set up tax incentives coupled with prioritized and conditional trade agreements that simultaneously favor communities in which big businesses operate. The only way to boost economic growth amongst the youth and women is to ensure that there is a priority procurement by this administration of goods and services from businesses owned by young people and by women entrepreneurs in particular. The public school system of Gauteng has created a situation where parents must lie about their place of residence in order to secure space for their children. From grade 1 up until grade 8, parents are stifled with the placement of policy of the Department of Basic Education. Yet this same department experiences budget cuts, and we are told about austerity measures. While we can applaud the creation of several schools of specialization, we must also be concerned about the level of access and capacity within the schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Poho. Honorable Sharif.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The best way to describe the state of the province address is the definition given by Albert Einstein, who said, and I quote, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." Premier Sophie offered nothing new, no new ideas, no innovation, but rather more rehashing of the same hyperbole with no clear plans or how these ideas will be implemented. Instead, he has a weird obsession with speed bullet trains. Mr. Premier, your words at SOPA, your promises and your so-called plans would have meant something if people could trust your word. The problem is that your word means nothing. If we have learned, it is that a person who cannot keep their word has nothing but a lack of integrity and cannot be trusted. Mr. Premier, you keep selling false dreams to those who are the most desperate for a better life. This is one of the cruelest things you can do. Give people hope and take it away from them. This is what you did to too many young people knowingly. You failed to pay young people and failed to retain them in your pipe dream of Inas Hispani. Mr. Premier, you did that. Having big ideas is great. In fact, it's encouraged. But if you cannot back these ideas up with actions, It means nothing to people. It means nothing to the brothers in Zola who went to school and got engineering degrees but sit around the street corners because they cannot find a job. It means nothing to Mom Monica in Protea Glen, who has lived with a disability her whole life and tries to feed her family and run a successful business of making clothes. One of the most talented people I have met, but struggles to get assistance from this government when requesting space to expand her business. Your empty words and broken promises mean nothing to Kani in Mdeni, who wants to open up her own business, but struggles to get any access to information, skills training, or development to help her become a successful entrepreneur. The plans by the so-called government of provincial unity lacks clever ideas that will not rescue Gauteng. This is evident from the increase in the unemployment in Q2 of the quarterly labour force survey for 2024, indicating that your interventions are not working. Honourable members, you create jobs by creating an environment for investment and access to skills training. The government's role is to give every person the opportunity they need to participate in the economy while also having a strong social welfare safety net for the most vulnerable. I agree with you when you say, and I quote, "We cannot be sorry forever, we must act." Well, this is how you do it. To grow the economy and rescue Gauteng, the DA advocates for the whole of society approach and requires that government, business and communities and individuals work together to overcome the challenges that we face. We must do business and focus our procurement that government does for goods and services from companies with the most positive socio-economic impact. We must increase employment through the implementation and growth of investment reforms to drive job creation. We must improve the levels of financial literacy to ensure that people can understand and manage their finances. We must have a one-stop shop for small businesses to save them time and money by making it easier to access information and assistance. Madam Speaker, we must ensure that the money allocated to grow the economy does just that and not into the pockets of the corrupt. Mr. Premier, too much of the initiatives you outlined in your SOPA address should have already been done. They should have already been done. These ideas are obvious, no-brainers, and lack any forward or future thinking. Mr. Premier, it is unfortunate that you let the moment get the better of you. But again, we cannot expect any different. Gauteng, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Sharif. Honourable Mahlabe, he'll be using the 12 minutes allocated to the party.
Yes.
Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Premier, Whip and the leader of MK Party, honourable members, receive revolutionary greetings from our real Commander-in-Chief, President Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Mhlanganyela Zuma, and Umkhonto weSizwe Party. Let me cut to the chase, Premier, and reserve the pleasantries by saying, I watched you very closely and listened very carefully as you were making your impassionate State of the Province address last week, Thursday, the 15th of August 2024 at Change Bible Church in Katlehong, Eguruleni. I could not help, Honourable Premier, but to observe a man who was entangled in a journey of passion, promises, and problems, to a point of being suffocated by harsh reality of the opposite. You almost ignited hope in us by narrating a good story of Gauteng leading in creating jobs, but in the same breath, you apologized to the teacher assistants for terminating their contracts abruptly. Yet, on the other hand, you were promising economic inclusivity and sustainable jobs, which remains a pipe dream indeed. I found it rather intriguing, Premier, that you refer to a term called GPU, that is borrowed from GNU, which is nothing but a neoliberal construct of convenience without substance to appease the masters of white monopoly capital. When the people of Gauteng and the country voted on the 29th of May 2024, there was no political party in a ballot paper called GPU or GNU. But out of desperation of concocted this artificial arrangement to maintain the status quo, you keep on feeding us with a narrative of government of national unity and government of provincial unity, which all of us know that that is a farce. May I bring to your attention the following matters which requires your undivided attention if you are to salvage anything in the attempt to recoup what is almost gone. For instance, in the Department of Roads, you have 69 contractors, to which 24 have been paid and 45 are not being paid. And this act against your very commitment to deliver services to the people of Gauteng. Cable theft within the province of Gauteng is a mega problem. And I want you, Premier, to give us clarity that what is the role of Amapanya-Panya, because you see them during the day, but at night are not very visible. So we want to put in an idea here that as Umkhonto Wesizwe Party, we would like to see the maximization and the usage of the Amapanya-Panya, even in special operations at night, to act as a force multiplier. 16,000 suppliers not being paid at the value of 1 billion in the Department of Health. Can we act in these areas because they also act against the spirit of making sure that there is economic growth in the Gauteng province that you lead? Appreciation that the rampant crime in Gauteng is a pandemic ranging from GBV to hijacking of cars and buildings. Traffic lights. You know, Premier, this one is very serious. If you go next to Carnival Mall or Carnival City, if you like, it's actually an indictment into your leadership that robots are being replaced by stop signs. Now, if a province is claiming to be growing, you can't regress by replacing robots with stop signs. That is not a sign of development. And there is not even traffic control there. I don't know what Ekurhuleni Metro Police Division are doing, because even in the midst of everything, they can't even deploy traffic controllers to control traffic. If you can zoom in that direction next to Carnival City. Illegal mining is also a problem in the province. I don't need water, sir. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to me.
Honourable Member, mind your time.
The failing and collapsing DID, the Department of Infrastructure, which takes almost 9 years to build one school, if not build in wetlands, is indictment to your leadership whilst propagating for a thriving economy in Gauteng. Specialized schools, whilst we appreciate the development in that area, should be geographically spread throughout the province. Telemukhuerani Hospital in Vosloorus, which is supposed to be a regional hospital, is in dire straits, without medication, which we consider it as a life esidimeni part 2 loading, if not attended to urgently. And by the way, Premier, this is not only Telemukhuerani, but it's a general state of affairs in our hospitals in general. Hillbrow Hospital has turned into a clinic that is a shame to us as well, because these hospitals were built to give services to our people. Whilst we welcome the closure of e-tolls and the cancellation of e-tolls, measures must be undertaken to protect owing citizens for being pursued through debt collectors, even though they were merely observing the law. In terms of partnership with ABSA, Honourable Premier, to fund black SMMEs, how are you going to ensure the removal of the red tape in that regard? You've been singing for some time the issue of township economy for the longest of time, yet emphasis is on spaza shops. Is that how you view our people, especially the black majority and Africans in particular, for the economic freedom in their lifetime? Because we personally feel that the issue of spaza shop, whilst important, but it cannot be at the center of the economic growth and the freedom, emancipation of our people. On a lighter note, Premier, I have noted or observed your recent growing interest in quoting Mother Teresa, which I think is beginning to dilute your revolutionary character. And for your own good, may I also remind you, in this month of women, that there are other heroines like Lillian Ngoyi, Mama Albertina Sisulu, Mama Matigizela Mandela, and the list is endless. Not to mention your own favorite icon, Ukomre Tuheri Kwala, Stoland. In conclusion, if you mean business, Premier, Gauteng must be the business unusual. For the next 5 years of the 7th administration as MK Party, we will be monitoring you very closely on behalf of the people of Gauteng. And with that, would like to say, Aluta continua.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matlabe. Honorable Ngobeni.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and good morning to all my colleagues. Firstly, let's welcome the address by the Premier and acknowledge the opportunity to share our own perspective.
Honorable members, Honorable MEC, Honorable Matlabe, please. Honorable Matlabe, I am calling both of you to order, please. Proceed. No, Honorable Matlabe, you will not have an exchange with the presiding officer. Proceed, Honorable Ngobeni.
I hope you have secured my small minutes.
No, your time was paused. Proceed.
No, thank you very much. No, awesome. Look, Premier, we want to say that the speech last week, Thursday, it lacked specific details. It lacked actionable plans in certain sections of your speech. And I'll just make an example. When you eloquently spoke about the celebration of women leaders, you did not provide concrete proposals on how we're going to address the issue of gender equality in the province. We are of the view that you emphasized a lot on the past achievements rather than giving us and the people of Gauteng a clear roadmap for future development and the progress. You lacked an appreciation of the fact that isn't Chile, Premier. Repetition of past promises and achievements without significant updates or new strategies, they give an indication that there is a need for fresh ideas and approaches. We don't want to be backward-looking. We don't want to remind you that since the last time we were here, many things have not changed for the better. Because indeed, since the last time we were here, there are security guards that have been camping outside the offices of the Provincial Health Department and are still there even today. In fact, they have now erected shacks on the pavement, rendering themselves to live in a most inhuman condition. I think, Premier, you cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that the service providers appointed by your government, the government that you lead, are exploiting the most vulnerable in our society. These security officers are demanding a commission of inquiry to investigate what happened to their outstanding salaries and benefits, to investigate if these service providers are complying with regulatory framework within the Department of Health. I believe they've met with your office in this regard. They've met with the office of MEC Nomantu. And now we are asking you in this platform to please intervene. To this effect, we are also very disappointed that you didn't say anything about the insourcing of security guards and cleaners. We urge you, Honorable Premier, to look at this matter with the seriousness that it deserves. We want to see these security guards being insourced, these cleaners being insourced in this 7th administration. Premier, since the last time we were here, the government that you lead has allowed service providers to abandon construction sites across the province. The people of Randfontein are desperate for answers on what steps are being taken against all those that are involved in the Metro Montrose mega project that is located in Randfontein. Despite the project beginning in 2017, thousands of units in Montrose remain vacant, unoccupied, and they are now being vandalized by vagrants, as many people who were hoping to benefit from this project are still being forced to live in deteriorating houses, and most of them are elderly. They are raising families. Some of them are your military veterans. We therefore implore you, Premier, in your response to please give us answers in regards to the current situation that is happening in Randfontein, in Montrose. We acknowledge the positive changes that you have mentioned in your speech. We welcome them. We welcome the removal of e-tolls. I hope you have noted what MPL Msimang is saying. We also welcome the improvements in terms of energy infrastructure. We welcome the fact that you mentioned investments a lot in your speech, and we didn't hear a lot of gimmicks that we had in the past. We acknowledge the feedback that you have provided in terms of lifestyle audits, but we are looking forward to the report. We also want to say, as a proposer, please take a step further by assessing the robustness of our anti-corruption units in order to investigate and prosecute cases of corruption and be able to deal with this without waiting for us to see what lifestyle audits say.
Honorable Ngubeni, your time is up.
We say thank you very much, and thank you very much for the speech, Premier. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngubeni. Honorable Nkomora Lehuku.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Premier and MECs, members of the Executive Council, leaders of political parties, honorable members in the House, members, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. A few days ago, Premier Sophie delivered the State of the Province address outlining the comprehensive plans for the 7th administration and our provincial government of unity. Among the crucial issues addressed was the ongoing concern of mpox, which the Premier emphasized a significant public health challenge. Today marks a week since the World Health Organization declared mpox outbreak a public health emergency for international concern. This designation means that the outbreak poses now a significant risk to public health across multiple countries and requires a coordinated international response. It points out that the reality of the world we live in, where pandemics and outbreaks are no longer the exemption, but part of our existence. The question is no longer if now, but when the next public health emergency will emerge. The strength and agility of the public health system are measured by how effectively and efficiently we respond to those emerging threats, optimizing resources and preserving lives. I'm pleased to report that our department has been proactive, working tirelessly to raise awareness within communities. We have dedicated men and women who continue to draw their extensive experience from COVID-19 pandemic and remain committed to ensure that the safety of the well-being of every resident in Gauteng is central to our response, and there is a need to intensify public health education and raise awareness about these pandemics. It is important that our communities are well informed about mpox, understanding its common symptoms, preventing strategies and treatment options. Some of the common symptoms of mpox include a rash which may last for 2 to 4 weeks, and a fever, headache, muscle aches, back pain, low energy and swollen glands. The painful rash looks like blisters or sores, and it can affect the face, palms of the hands, your feet, your groin. We continue again to urge all the people who experience any symptom to present themselves to nearby health facility for clinical observation and confine themselves to one place until the test of results are available. Our team is prepared and vigilant and united in a mission to protect and serve our people with the determination that has seen us through past challenges. Honorable members, Premier has also again highlighted ongoing concerns against cancer treatment in our province. It is important to address these concerns with accurate and comprehensive information, countering the incomplete narrative that suggests that cancer patients are not receiving adequate care in Gauteng. Cancer treatment involves several modalities, including surgical interventions, hormonal therapy, chemotherapy, radiation oncology, and patients are often require a combination of these treatments. Currently, we have over 2,000 patients awaiting radiation oncology. But it is important to note that, many are receiving other forms of treatment in the interim. The number of patients awaiting for radiation therapy is dynamic, changing daily as patients progress through their treatment plans. Our existing radiotherapy centers at Charlotte Maxeke, Johannesburg Academic Hospital, and Steve Biko Academic Hospital have been significantly upgraded. They now feature additional medical equipment and enhanced human resource to better serve patients. The Gauteng Department of Health is committed again to expand our capacity in this critical area of cancer treatment. Siemens has been appointed to provide radiotherapy planning services, which is a crucial part of delivering precise and effective radiotherapy. This planning is complex and time-consuming, but essential in ensuring that patients receive the best possible chance of cure through accurate and timely treatment. We are also undertaking a landmark initiative to build new radiation oncology of outpatient facilities at Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital and Dr. George Mukhari Academic Hospital. These state-of-art facilities are set to commence construction by the end of September 2024. They represent a significant advancement in cancer care, aiming to improve access and provide world-class treatment, including advanced radiation therapy to underserved communities. Aligned with the National Health Insurance vision, this project reflects our commitment to equitable healthcare services. The new facilities will feature specialized bunkers that are designed to house cutting-edge linear accelerator machines. These upgrades will not only enhance the standard of cancer care, but also provide training opportunities for young health professionals, preparing them to use state-of-art equipment and contribute to the future of oncology. Madam Speaker, the Premier highlighted again several important healthcare infrastructure and service initiatives. And I'm pleased to report to the House again that the significant progress made in these areas is notable. Our commitment to enhance healthcare access to quality is evident in the strides that we make with the development of new hospitals, radiotherapy centers, and the advancement of e-health technologies. And these efforts are very important in addressing the needs of our communities, in ensuring that our healthcare needs meet the highest standards of excellence. Under Davidson Hospital, the National Department of Health now has approved the business case for Davidson Hospital. The Gauteng Infrastructure Finance Agency has been appointed to oversee the bulk of engineering designs, site development plans, and architectural designs, with the aim to complete these by March 2025. And this project has been funded in the medium-term expenditure framework, and underscoring our dedication to expand healthcare infrastructure in underserved areas. On Orange Farm Hospital, progress has been made in Orange Farm project with the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement, confirming the suitable land suitability investigations are scheduled again to be concluded within the current financial year, bringing us closer to addressing the healthcare needs to the Orange Farm community. Under Soshanguve Hospital, while various land portions have been identified for Soshanguve Hospital, we are still awaiting for confirmation of their suitability. The department again is collaborating with the Department of Infrastructure to expedite this process and aims to finalize the land identification by the end of this financial year. Under Deep Slot Hospital, Land portions for Deep Slot Hospital have been identified and suitable investigations are in progress again. We expect these investigations to be completed by the end of this financial year, paving the way for essential healthcare facilities. These hospitals are very critical in bridging the health gap in townships, in ensuring equitable access to quality care, addressing regional disparities in health provisions. Madam Speaker, we forge ahead again our efforts to modernize and improve healthcare services in Gauteng. One of the most significant initiatives is the digital transformation of healthcare sector, often referred as e-health. This initiative is not merely a matter of convenience, but is a critical step towards ensuring equitable access to quality healthcare for all citizens in the province. The WHO emphasized the importance of e-health in improving global health outcomes, access particularly to underserved communities. By embracing digital health services, Gauteng aligns with the global best practices and contributes to UN's goal of leaving no one behind, including the National Digital Health Strategy for South Africa 2019-2024, that is set out as a vision for better health for all South Africans to enable by digital health. As part of our drive again towards the paperless Gauteng health system, we are implementing ICT solutions, streamline healthcare delivery. A key example is the digitization of the road to health record, which will ensure continuity of our care for children by securing and storing their health data electronically. We have allocated again funds over the next 3 years to expand e-health initiative, including digitizing patient records and introduction of telemedicine services. By 2025, we aim to have 70% of patient records fully digitized, significantly improving healthcare efficiency and access of those. This will contribute immensely towards supporting the health system for transformation for NHI. The benefits of this are vast, from the reduced administrative burdens of ensuring more accurate, timely care interventions, and these interventions also align WHO recommendations for better data collection and analysis to improve overall health care. To support these goals, we have advanced the digitals of medical records across the 37 Gauteng departments. One of the hospitals that we have started this initiative is Bara, and the second one is Charlotte Makleke, that is following on the first phase, Steve Biko, Tembisa Tele, and Dr. George Mukari, in improving the patient's care, reducing the awaiting times, and ensuring seamless access to medical records. Again, the Health Information System project has successfully been implemented by patient administration, the billing and the finance modules in the 33 community healthcare centers and 37 hospitals. The ongoing development of clinical models set for completion by 2025 supports the one patient and one file
Honorable
initiative.
MEC.
Yes, ma'am.
Your
Thank
time
you.
is up. Thank you.
Well said, well said, well said.
Honorable Mseke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Premier, during the 2024 SOPA, said that fighting crime is our apex priority, which commands our urgent attention as a provincial government. I wish to reassure the people of our province that we will continue to ramp up measures to drastically reduce crimes. This, of course, was not the first time that he used the word apex to amplify his pledge to fight crime. 2 weeks ago, the community of Northern Park, Birchley and its surroundings were bombarded by gunshots from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Neighbors found stray bullets in their homes, including an elderly couple who found a bullet between the two of them in their bed when they woke up in the morning. The police were notified by me about the suspected perpetrators, but the community was shocked to learn that no arrests were made. According to the police, the perpetrators were warned about firing shots in a residential area. The shots were so loud that it felt like the shooters were in my yard. Surely, this is a clear example of poor policing. I found it interesting that the Premier suggested we update our vocabulary by calling hostels family units. If I may ask the Premier, when were they developed into such? Go to Actonville Hostel now, and you'll find sewage that has forced its way into people's homes. These people do not enjoy the benefits of a family home. Instead, they live in deplorable conditions. The residents are fully grown men who live in groups. The toilets do not flush. The showers are not functional. In fact, the showers are pools of old water, and the doors to their rooms are nothing more than curtains. So imagine when their wives are visiting, such indignity. So contrary to the lie told in the House, hostels remain hostels, not family units. The Premier talked about townships, informal settlements, and hostels, TISH, the new lingo. But communities of Tembisa are not feeling it. Instead of highlighting TISH successes, the Premier has extended his plan to the CBDs. There's more to cleaning CBDs than just Carlton Centre. Littering needs to be cleared, dustbins need to be erected, potholes need to be repaired, and bylaws need to be enforced. The Premier plans to build hospitals within the province, but is not talking about how. The Kempton Park Hospital was abandoned, and to date, there's no plan for what will happen to the structure. This is problematic because Tembisa Hospital is facing significant strain. Yes, Zamakule Hospital, despite being a helpful ally, is unable to alleviate all the pressure faced by Tembisa Hospital. The less said about e-health, the better. It has been tabled since 2014 when I first worked into this legislature, and it seems to be just another lingo going nowhere slowly. Furthermore, I'm concerned about how the Premier plans to activate the Banapili program, which for the past 8 years failed to use funds meant for dignity packs, school uniforms, and food parcels. The funding model for these programs is still a big concern for me. In previous SOPAs, Premier Sophie has talked about substance abuse and how drugs are ravaging our communities. I thought the Premier would have updated Gauteng residents on how many people have been assisted by his programs. Madam Speaker, it is shocking that the Premier missed an opportunity with a public platform to apologize to the NPOs of Gauteng and acknowledge the hardships they endured. I suggest initiating the adjudication of NPO funding earlier in September this year, following the lead of the National Department of Social Development and the Western Cape, where the process kicks off during the same month. Consider the situation of an NPO closing down, affecting its employees and beneficiaries, and all within Gauteng, and then underspending by over 500 million. And the Treasury could have better used to serve the vulnerable, who are solely dependent on the NPOs for social services and survival. In closing, Madam Speaker, Premier, I'd like to say to you, you want to acknowledge women. Helen Suzman contributed to democracy in South Africa. A motion to honor her was passed by Ekurhuleni in 2011 when I was a councillor, however, was never ever implemented. Is this how an inclusive government works? So when you honor female leaders, please include this fearless Mbogoto as well. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nseke. Honourable Evans.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, Honourable Premier, all protocol observed. Today we find ourselves at a critical juncture where our actions will shape the future of our province and country. I'm honoured to engage in the debate following the insightful and well-articulated State of the Province address delivered by Premier Panyaza Sophie last week. Congratulations, Premier, on an address that encapsulates our collective aspirations and challenges. The 2024 SOPA comes at a significant moment in history, marking the formation of the GPU. The new trajectory offers us a chance to better the lives of our people, setting a foundation for progress and unity. Madam Speaker and honourable members, the Patriotic Alliance reaffirms its commitment to the GPU's noble objectives under the Premier's leadership. We are dedicated to the programs outlined by the Premier, ensuring that governance reflects, that governance reflects the will of the people and upholds equal rights for all. We trust this will be achieved in an environment marked by peace, friendship, and a resolute stand against corruption. An important point of the Premier's address was the emphasis on an inclusive economy and job creation, an issue close to our hearts. Many of our people have long faced exclusion and marginalization. Premier, we urge you to honor your commitment to inclusivity, paying special attention to historically overlooked areas like Westbury, Actonville, Reiger Park, Eldorado Park, Alexandra and Bella Vista, etc. It is vital that these townships are included in the economic revitalization you envision. Apart from the crime, substance abuse, gangsterism and shootings within these townships causing decay, as alluded in your State of the Province address, together with the impact of the climate change. We welcome your decisive leadership and focused approach in dealing with environmental issues within our province by separating the Department of Environment as a standalone entity. In closing, we urge each of you to reflect the role you can play in this renewed endeavor. Our choices today will shape the legacy we leave behind. Let us choose a path of sustainability, resilience and hope. Together, we can build a vibrant and prosperous province. Salute ons Baizani. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Evans. Honourable Alberts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Premier Sophie, during the SOPA in February this year, we warned that the ANC will not be able to show the steps it took in a journey of 1,000 steps to improve Gauteng, and that this will result in a regression of the ANC's electoral fortunes, and this has come to pass. The main reason for the fragmentation of the electorate amongst a myriad of political parties can be attributed to the dire economic situation in Gauteng and the inability of the government to break the province free of the constricting economic path it has created itself. Premier Sophie, I think you will agree that we need to listen to the voice of the voters more than ever. Therefore, you must understand that the economic plans that you announced during the SOPA is not enough to make a substantial dent in the current Gauteng unemployment rate of 47% if one uses the expanded definition of unemployment. And this is despite the fact that the size of the Gauteng economy was already 2.2 trillion rand in 2022. Furthermore, given the strong influx of new people into the province, the new investments to be made into the existing economy must range in the hundreds of millions of rands and even trillions. And how do we attract this type of funding then? History has shown us the way. Government must establish business-friendly policies that create a safe and entrepreneurial environment coupled with tax incentives. Witness the many examples in the form of South Korea, Singapore, even China, Mauritius, amongst others. However, the fact is that many investors are simply not interested in Gauteng's economy. This is also evidenced by the fact that the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency has failed to reach its own moderate goals to attract domestic and foreign investments into Gauteng. So, Premier, the government needs to think bigger. And I pose some questions. Why not attract the largest information technology and film production companies in the world to Gauteng by using SEZs and tax incentives? That's what Mauritius is doing right now. And Swaziland is thinking about that. So we have competition, but we can do it. Why not attract high-tech aerospace manufacturing by entering into a partnership with the European Space Agency? If we don't, Canada will remain the only non-EU country receiving aerospace contracts. We have started that process actually in Parliament when I was in a Trade and Industry Committee, but unfortunately we could not finalize the matter. But Gauteng can do it. These are merely a few examples. However, any large investment presupposes policy changes of note that is inviting to investors. Therefore, Premier Sophie, we need to start the process of upgrading the GGT 2030 plan as a matter of urgency. We cannot continue doing the same things and expect a better outcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Alberts. Honourable Bosch.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Premier Sophie started his State of the Province address by paying tribute to the women giants, as he coined it in its celebration of Women's Month. He continued to celebrate the 7,000 crime safety wardens, or the Amapanyaza as we know them. Premier Sophie proudly proclaimed, "We are confident that victory is certain, that law-abiding residents will reclaim their peaceful existence." In light of this, Madam Speaker, it is quite disturbing that I need to share that during this Women's Month, an innocent woman was assaulted unprovoked in Randburg CBD by the crime prevention wardens, who are supposed to combat crime and ensure that women can walk in public spaces day or night without fear. This repulsive behaviour was captured on video and circulated on social media. Instead of condemning this unacceptable behaviour and acting against those responsible, the Premier chose to keep quiet. Thanks to this deafening silence, I was reliably informed this weekend about another woman who was attacked in Sunnyside over the weekend in front of her children by another group of crime prevention wardens. This behaviour is unacceptable and not something to be proud of, Mr. Premier. The DA vehemently denounces this flagrant abuse of power by the crime prevention wardens and insists on a thorough investigation into these matters. It is unacceptable that the crime prevention wardens entrusted with the vital task of ensuring the safety and security of Gauteng residents rather instill fear and terror among law-abiding residents of Gauteng. The DA has consistently flagged the lack of training of these crime prevention wardens and reported that rather than enforcing the law, many of them were causing panic and wreaking havoc in our communities. The crime statistics have shown that since the crime prevention wardens were hired on the 1st of May 2023, crime has indeed increased and not decreased. Currently, Gauteng ranks #1 in the country in crime categories such as contact crime, rape, robbery, and many other crimes. The DA government should reduce crime by implementing a program similar to the one in the Western Cape called the LEAP program, to increase police presence. Unlike the Amapanyaza, those working under the LEAP program are properly trained and disciplined to act with integrity and not violate their powers. This brings me to another point. It was interesting to note at the last SOPA that there was a drone and helicopters above the venue in the area. Well done, Mr. Premier. I suspect this performance was aimed at proving to us that you have indeed bought these resources to fight crime, and we finally managed to see them. We welcome these resources, but we need to plead with you to prioritise the command centre and the proper training of those who need to utilise it. Let's ensure that these resources are allocated by using evidence-based data in a strategic manner and deployed to the real crime hotspots. Let's not only use the quarterly crime statistics, but also focus on getting live updates on where criminal activities are taking place. On Wednesday last week, children were shot at a school in Eldorado Park. This incident caused an uproar in the community. Strategically, the drones and helicopters should be deployed to an area like this, tracing the gangsters and ensuring successful arrests and prosecutions. We should not sit back and watch those poor children continue to write their exams in fear. If and when we have a command centre, we will be able to tap into the live data and explore equipment and the crime prevention strategies as they did in the Western Cape, where we can utilise things like Shot Spotter, a gunshot detection surveillance technology that uses sensors to detect, locate and alert law enforcement agencies of potential gunfire incidents in the real time. By using drones, helicopters, shot spotters and well-trained LEAP officers, we will be able to fight crime and put an end to the ruthless killings, hijackings and gangsterism that are currently controlling our streets in the townships in this province. The DA is unwavering in its commitment to creating safer communities in Gauteng, where the rule of law is upheld by law enforcement and residents of our province in line with the Constitution, where these promises are not empty pie-in-the-sky promises, but that will make rather a tangible difference to bring about a safer Gauteng. Honourable Premier, if you are really, truly serious about addressing crime effectively, consider reassigning this portfolio specifically to a MEC that is solely dedicated to community safety and crime prevention in Gauteng. Consult the DA and allow us to guide you in rectifying the flaws of a warden scheme, highlighting problematic areas and offering recommendations on what really works, as we did in the Western Cape. Unless that is done, we cannot, Mr. Premier, be confident that victory in the fight against crime will be certain.
Your time is up.
One life lost is one too many. We need to end crime now.
Honourable Bush, thank you. Honourable Zamene.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive, leaders of political parties, and honorable members of this House. Drawing from counsel of one of the prolific and dedicated sons of the soil, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who once said, "True greatness does not lie in wealth or power, but in the service of others." Close quote. It is that preoccupation that led us to raise our hands when we were called to serve the people of this great province. Madam Speaker, the IFP welcomes the Premier State of the Province address as it marks the direction of the 7th administration under the government of provincial unity. The Premier's address offered a glimmer of hope that things can be done differently in light of all challenges confronting this province. The SOPA captured the vision of a government that is committed to work urgently towards improving the quality of life and well-being of our citizens. It is no secret that after 3 decades of democracy, citizens have become impatient and cynical about the capabilities of our government because of the lack of political will and dedication to give people service that they deserve. The residents of this province have deemed it necessary to put to their eggs. The residents of this province has deemed it necessary not to put their eggs into one basket. Hence, we have a government of provincial unity, and we owe it to them to succeed. We are bound by our conscience to meet them at the area of their needs. This is not the time to showcase our ideological political outlook. This is the time to diligently serve. This is the time to work together to effectively serve the people of this province by resolving the urgent challenges such as the weakening economy, unemployment, poverty, urban decay, and the devastating crime that affects our province. Madam Speaker, the IFP believes that now is the time to change the defining narrative about our province. Gauteng is not only known as the economic hub of our country, but infamous as the hub of all criminals. In this regard, the IFP welcomes the Premier's Sophie's plan to continue shoring up our defense mechanism against threats of criminals operating in this province. This includes making use of technology such as the panic e-button, CCTV, and the drones. These different modes of crime prevention must be supported as they also feed into high rates of youth unemployment and poverty within our communities through sourcing opportunities for local businesses. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I wish to steal from the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." Close quote. And that is the conviction we must all have as we seek change to the lives of our people, and the results will attest to the words of Mtwana Wapindangene that indeed greatness does not lie in wealth or power, but in the service of others. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mama Bolo. Order, honorable members, order. Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Dlamini. No. Honorable members, no. Honorable Dlamini. Just hold on, honorable members. No. Honorable members, order, please. Honorable members. Honorable Mama Bolo, your time. Honorable Mama Bolo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker.
No, just hold on, Honorable Mama Bolo. Members, please. The matter will be addressed properly. No. The matter will be addressed properly if you raise it through the proper channels. Thank you very much. Honorable Mama Bolo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker. Honorable Premier, MSC's Chief Whip, honorable members, all leaders of various political parties, all guests, the people of our province. And let me join the House in conveying our sincere condolences to MSC Maile and the family. Honorable members, kindly allow me to thank the African National Congress, the National Liberation Movement of the People for giving me this opportunity to debate the State of the Province address, eloquently delivered by Premier Sophie on the 15th August in Katlehong.
Honorable Masoleng, just hold on, Honorable Mamabolo. Honorable Masoleng, the least you could do is to respect the House, okay? No, you will not exchange with the presiding officer. You will not do that. You will not do that. Okay, Honorable Mamabolo.
I realize that the balance of forces have shifted. I'll be very quick. Now, Honorable Speaker, I'd like to congratulate you and the Deputy Speaker for delivering a smooth and well-run SOPA proceedings. Well done to you. We heartily thank yourselves. Let me also welcome and acknowledge and, of course, appreciate the inputs of those who spoke before me. Thanks to all of them. I'd like honourable members to congratulate the Premier for delivering the State of the Province address that, without doubt, was quite overwhelming. It was welcomed and appreciated by the people of the province. Honourable members, the address by the Premier will definitely and hopefully take its rightful place in the House, and I hope it is most befitting that we treat it as a point of unity for all of us in the House as the government of provincial unity. I can, of course, say without any shade of doubt that we have a point of reference for all of us, and I think it is important that throughout the year we refer back to the State of the Province address. Honourable Premier, you correctly and most importantly reminded us that SOPA was delivered during Women's Month. And of course, you pay tribute to our gallant women, many militant women. Of course, Dr. Naledi Pandor, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Let me also add, Honourable Premier, that just in this month, we remember the killing by the apartheid state of Ruth First through a parcel bomb in Mozambique, in Maputo. And of course, I'd like to dedicate this debate to her. Let's also join the rest of the people in celebrating with Mama Gertrude Shope, and of course, welcome the gesture from the member of the DA for celebrating again and congratulating Mama Sophie Debrain for her contribution. And of course, I'd like to say, as the SACP in the province, we did visit Mama Sophie Debrain last week. Now, I'd like to also, Premier, thank you for the manner in which, and of course, the courage which you had to boldly reflect on the achievements of the last few years and how we have successfully delivered on the commitments that were made. I would like to say that by reflecting on the achievements we have made, the commitments that were made, we have laid the foundation definitely for the way forward, and we have built a relationship of trust with the people. Let me also indicate that I think it was very important, Premier, the way in which you actually reflected a strategic approach that seeks to bring together into the province, in our development plan, in growing the economy, in creating jobs, integrate many areas in and around Gauteng, but outside the province, as you referred to some of them, working with the people of Harrismith, with Rustenburg, and many other areas. I think that's very important, Premier, because the problems of our province cannot be solved by inward looking and exclusively focusing on Gauteng. We need a broader, bigger strategic approach so that we can track and trace the solutions to the origins where they come from. And I'd like to say to you, the example you have set and the standard you have laid, the Chinese would have said exactly the Belt and Road Initiative, where they track and plug China in the global economy by following the Silk Road. So what we have done is very much important, Premier, and I'd like you to keep to that. Let us look to Free State, let's look to Northern Cape, let's look to Mpumalanga. I think that is the best way to go. Let's look at the borders, let's look at the neighboring states, the harbors, and many other places, because, as I say, we can't solve the problems of this province by a narrow inward focus on Gauteng. The speed train to Limpopo, those are very important interventions, Premier, that you are making, and I would like to thank you for that. The other important point, Premier, is the focus on the CBD of Joburg. The city of Joburg is the face of this country globally. And I think it will be very much important that we bring decisive interventions into the CBD of Gauteng, not only because it is the precinct of the provincial government, but because if we want to grow the economy, we should start here, and I think the world will be able to see what we're trying to do. And I think by focusing on that, we commend you. Let me just confirm that in a few days, we will be bringing lights into the city. We will be bringing coordinated, sustainable cleaning. We will be bringing security in the CBD of Joburg, and we will announce all these plans together with you, Premier, just before the end of August. We will demonstrate our focus on improving the international face of our country, which is the CBD of the city of Joburg, and only in that way can we grow our economy. Let me just take the opportunity to say to Honorable Msimang that yes, indeed, you are absolutely right that we work together. I think the gesture that you have communicated to the House is very much important. And true that we should do everything possible not to be sidetracked, not to focus on things that will derail us from focusing on the strategic task. But I think it will be very critical, Honorable Msimanga, that you also bring, and I've heard you say members could actually follow in the direction that you have laid. But I'm worried that I've also heard some expressions that still do not really seem to appreciate the point you are making. And I think we will not focus on those, but embrace the gesture and give it an opportunity, because as I'll tell a story, Honorable Msimanga, just on being sidetracked, you know, the taxi industry says that they tell a story of a community in the olden days that was having a major celebration. They were slaughtering a cow, and when they were just about to skin it, there was a rabbit that passed. The whole village left the cow, chased the rabbit, got it. When they came back, they found that the wild animals have eaten the whole cow. So they had a rabbit, but the cow was gone. So I'd like to say to you that your point is spot on. Let us not chase the rabbit. Let us focus on the state of the province address. It is the strategic message, it is the core business, it is a unifying point, and I think we will do better to follow in what you said. Honorable Dlamini, the Chief Whip has also said, let us work together. So your gesture is embraced, but please bring the village together so that the village as well can embrace this message of a new chapter that you're seeking to open. And I'm quite sure that the ANC this side, you have also seen, they applauded your speech and the gesture you are giving, but we hope the village will not chase the rabbit and fail to focus on the fundamental question. I'd just like to say to the comrades at the back that when we talk about the problems of our province, we must also appreciate the legacy of apartheid and colonialism. We can't talk about problems of this province just as if problems started in 1994. There is colonialism of a special type. There's a history to this country, and I think it's important that we also reflect on that. It is well done. Thank you very much. But the Premier outlines the strategic task. It is for all of us to make a contribution, the departments to make inputs and deal with the details. But otherwise, thank you very much. Thanks, honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable Mamabulo. Honorable Miller.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, honourable members. At the onset of the 7th administration, the Premier announced the separation of the Environment Department from Agriculture and Rural Development. While this decision holds the potential to foster a more focused intervention on governance, we cannot ignore the glaring gaps that remain. Chief among them, the lack of specific plans and, crucially, the budget required to tackle Gauteng's urgent economic challenges. A healthy environment is not a matter of ecological preservation. It is fundamental to enabling our citizens to seize opportunity and create sustainable livelihoods. When our environments are degraded, these opportunities are not only minimised, they are systematically eroded. A compromised environment actively works against our efforts to uplift the most vulnerable among us, creating a cycle of poverty and degradation that we must break. In the State of the Province address, the Premier highlighted the ambition to finalise environmental impact assessments within 30 days. While we applaud this drive for efficiency, we must caution against sacrificing thoroughness at the altar of speed. The Democratic Alliance believes in a balanced approach, which streamlines process without compromising the essential environmental safeguards that protect our communities and natural resources. EIAs and the decisions made by the relevant authorities must adhere to the highest possible standards to ensure unacceptable developments are not authorised. The Premier also emphasised the significance of the Climate Change Act, which intended to set the tone for the implementation of the Gauteng City Region overarching climate change response strategy, a strategy approved by this Gauteng Executive Council 4 years ago. It is important to remember that the Act remains dormant until proclamation by the President, which is also deeply concerning. While we welcome the Premier's announcement of an upcoming climate indaba, it seems implementation timelines are always moving. We must remind this House that 4 years after the strategy's approval, we are yet to see tangible progress. The DA firmly believes environmental protection cannot be reduced to mere rhetoric. Gauteng, though the smallest province, is one of the most industrialised and densely populated, and it faces significant environmental challenges that demand urgent attention. Gauteng struggles with high levels of air pollution, posing a serious public health risk. Gauteng's water infrastructure is crumbling, leaving residents across the province facing frequent outages. This is due to ageing pipes, insufficient maintenance and poor planning. The province's heavy reliance on the Vaal River system is increasingly threatened by pollution, erratic weather patterns, which are putting this vital resource under strain. Furthermore, rapid urbanisation, population growth have led to severe waste management problems, with landfills nearing capacity and recycling programs failing to keep pace with the growing volume of waste. Urban sprawl continues to erode our natural habitats, leading to the destruction of green spaces and putting Gauteng's wildlife at risk. Addressing these issues requires coordinated policy making, active community engagement and the adoption of sustainable practices. We must work to mitigate environmental impacts and promote a healthier, more resilient environment for all of Gauteng's residents. To this end, the DA proposes an increase in the number of environmental management inspectors across all spheres of government, with a special focus on those specialising in legislation, such as the National Environmental Act, the Air Quality Act and the Waste Management Act. The DA would prioritise a comprehensive overhaul of our water infrastructure, implementing smart water management systems and investing in pipe replacement programs to reduce water losses. In addition, we would launch a province-wide water conservation campaign, educating and promoting reduced water consumption and adoption of water-saving technologies and practices. It is disappointing that the Premier's address made no mention of biodiversity protection or the expansion of green spaces in our urban areas. Environmental protection is not solely about addressing climate change. It's about creating livable, breathable cities that improve the livelihoods of all residents. The DA proposes a Green Gauteng initiative focused on increasing urban green spaces, protecting our remaining natural areas and implementing strict measures to combat air and water pollution. In conclusion, while the Premier's address acknowledges some of the environmental factors facing Gauteng, it falls short of offering concrete, funded and achievable solutions. The DA presents a practical, action-orientated policy that prioritises environmental stewardship and delivers real results for the people of Gauteng. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Miller. Honourable Ali.
Madam Speaker, honourable members, good day. I know Member Sophie likes quotes, so here's one for him from the scriptures. Mene mene tekel parzin. The writing is on the wall. You've been weighed, you've been measured, you've been found wanting. You know full well that the township entrepreneurs in Ekurhuleni have suffered at the hands of Family Tree Holdings and Kataras Shop Owners Association. The entrepreneurs are here. They're right up there in the gallery. I want you to look at them, Premier, because you have failed them. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, you know full well what they've had to endure. Member Mutara in absentia knows, Member Maile in absentia knows. Yet you all continue to aid and abet your service provider at the expense of those people that you claim to help. You know that Family Tree's implementation of the Township Economic Development Act has been riddled with lies. You know that they claimed a supermarket was a distribution center. Lies. You know that they fabricated the number of jobs they created. Lies. You know that a report by the Portfolio Committee on Economic Development in the 6th Administration recommended a forensic investigation into their relationship with you because they uncovered lies, lies, and more lies. And yet you shield them because they are your comrades. You choose them over those men and women up there. Men and women that you approached unprovoked and offered to assist with money, whether it's a loan or a grant, stock and equipment and training. They were fending for themselves. Yes, they were struggling somewhat to compete with foreign-owned shops and the aftermath of COVID, but against all odds, they ran bakeries, juice manufacturing plants, spaza shops and clothing lines until you gave them false hopes and hung them out to dry. Now you say there are delays in distributing the funds and that they don't qualify. Lies. Firstly, you don't have the decency to communicate this with them. Secondly, they submitted all documentation which is bandied about by your comrades to amass wealth. And thirdly, they were given training in order for them to qualify if they didn't do so before. They continue to be fleeced by Kataras Shop Owners Association, which goes door to door, day and night, collecting money from widows, orphans, and grant recipients in the name of empowering them. You should be ashamed of yourself. You want a bank? Nishula ispaza shop. Oh, and as for us, we have taken the matter to the public protector. I stand by what I said. I said what I said. I will not apologize. Should you demand recourse, I would advise you to go to the nearest court. In fact, I dare you. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Ali. Honorable Rasidingwane.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the resident of Gauteng Province, Ndimasiar. Honorable Speaker, the Premier of Gauteng, like many of his comrades in government, has perfected the art of gaslighting. He stands before the people of Katlehong promising hope and change. However, his action tells a different story, a story of betrayal, deception, and utter disregard to the people that he claims to serve. He is a man who speaks of progress while presiding over a decade, who offer empty promises while our communities continue to suffer. He presents himself as a champion of the people, yet he walks a path that leads only to further hardship for the people of Gauteng Province. Honorable Speaker, for far too long, our government has been held back by corruption. This is not an issue of few bad apples. It is a deeply entrenched problem that has poisoned the core institution of this government. This individual, some seated here, have siphoned off resources meant for the public good, lining their own pockets while our communities continue to suffer. They have betrayed the trust that they've been trusted by the people who they're supposed to serve, turning our government into a breeding ground of incompetence and greed. While the Premier's speech is full of grand visions, it lacks the practical steps in terms of how the Premier plans to solve these challenges this province faces. The truth is, Honourable Speaker, we cannot move forward as a province until we deal with these internal problems that this province has faced for far too long. Madam Speaker, numerous infrastructure projects, such as constructions of schools, housing developments, have been abandoned or remain incomplete due to corruption or mismanagement, leaving communities that desperately need the services without the essential services. Yet you saw the need to stand in front of people of Katlehong and offer them just more of your empty promises and vague assurances. Your speech, Honourable Premier, failed to articulate the plans in which you plan to address the many challenges that this government faces. Honourable Speaker, allow me to remind the Premier that it is this very same government that the Premier has the honour to lead that has held the power for the past 30 years. At the time, they had ample opportunity to drive meaningful change, but they chose comradeship. It is this very same government, Honourable Premier, that you had the honour to lead, that has today failed to promote the building of infrastructures to ensure that we have great schools for our children, as well as safe hospitals that can cover the population of this city. It is this very same government, Honourable Premier, that has, amongst ourselves here, promoted MECs that have clouds hanging over their heads, and have also presided the very same failed projects that the city, this province find themselves looking after. It is the very same government, Honourable Premier, that you have the honour to lead, that have allowed for projects, for my way project to be built in a wetland. You were there. You were the MEC at the time for MEC for Education, yet this took place under your watch. It is the very same government you have the honour to lead, Honourable Premier, that has consistently failed to confront corruption head-on, allowing it to spread unchecked instead of taking decisive action. It is the same government that has enabled the culture of corruption to thrive at the expenses of the resident of Gauteng. In May last year, Honourable Premier, if I do need to remind you, you subjected the people of Johannesburg with a clueless mayor that last week you have now decided to take back, Mayor Gwamanda. It is the same government you have the honour to lead that has subjected the children of Hulwazi Secondary School in Deviton to be taught in classes that are overcrowded, with many schools that have roofs that are collapsing, broken windows, and that compromise their learning conditions. It is the very same government that you have the honour to lead that have now looked at the budget for the 120 billion Gauteng project and the building of the 4 hospitals that they are now lining their pockets in the spirit of comrades must eat, comrades must get shinkwa, Buroto must benefit the people that are connected. Honourable Speaker, as we reflect on Women's Month, my heart goes out to the countless families who have been failed by this government, to the mothers and the fathers whose children's future have been compromised by this failing government, to the mothers who've endured the pain of seeing their children in abusive relationship, yet they failed to have the guts to tell them to leave.
Your time is up, Honourable Resident.
Thank you.
Thanks. Honourable Ramokopa.
Madam Speaker, Honourable Premier, people of Gauteng and members of this House. This Women's Month, I'd like to acknowledge the ordinary women of this country who survive and thrive against all odds. The single mothers, the domestic workers, okoko nabo mama betu, who are responsible for 60% of subsistence food production in our country. We salute you. Madam Speaker, the ever-increasing unemployment rate is the most urgent crisis of our time. Gauteng's 47% expanded unemployment rate is unacceptable. Every second citizen is now unemployed. Lesedi, Rand West and Mfuleni local municipalities are the most affected. Honourable Premier, make no mistake. If, as the leadership of the 7th administration, we cannot address the issue of unemployment decisively and permanently, we would have failed the people of Gauteng. In particular, the millions of young people who are drawn into a life of idleness, substance abuse and crime as a result. We therefore welcome the efforts you have made towards attracting investment. The only way to achieve this is to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive and grow by keeping our people safe and ensuring that there are no structural barriers to social progress. It's encouraging to hear about these many investments that are planned for the province. However, we also know that too often when these investment pledges are made, sometimes even reaching into the trillions of rands, they do not end up translating into measurable job growth. They do not reduce inequality or better the living conditions of the people. It is our hope, therefore, that these investments will indeed translate into sustainable jobs. We must also ensure, Honourable Premier, that we do not become part of the problem that by paying service providers late. Too often it is small businesses, and particularly black-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, that are sacrificed on the altar of political inertia, yet they are the engine of this province. We must therefore reduce red tape and make Gauteng investable again. In your speech, Honourable Premier, you rightfully emphasised the issue of urban hunger. With 1 in 5 residents of Gauteng surviving on less than 1 meal a day, this is unacceptable. As I close, today marks the 41st anniversary of the launch of the United Democratic Front, an organisation which was instrumental in mobilising society to defeat the erstwhile apartheid government. This is a testament that we are indeed stronger together, and we go further when we go together. With that, I reaffirm our commitment to the government of provincial unity, and I declare that when Gauteng rises, South Africa rises. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Ramukupa. Honourable
Yes,
Makwala.
We debate this SOPA in memory of Fighter Moshe Mpatlele, who died fighting the ripple effects of Gauteng housing crisis. Councillor Mpatlele from Johannesburg in Alexander was killed during a peaceful community protest over the occupation of COVID temporary housing to alleviate housing congestion. Madam Speaker, we want to remind the House that in the 2023 SOPA, Premier Sophie looked to upgrade 179 informal settlements with a budget of 3 billion. However, this never happened. The Township Informal Settlement Program has barely touched the surface in creating better conditions within townships and informal settlement from Easteras in Tshwane, Nana's Farm in Joburg, and Bredel in Ekurhuleni, to name a few. Instead, what we have now is a land invasion monitoring and inspection tool which will be used against those in dire need of housing who were failed by the government in releasing land through the slow progress of the Rapid Land Release Program as well as the glaring housing backlog. This backlog are testimony to the disastrous state of the Department of Infrastructure that builds schools on unsustainable lands like Mosupyoe Primary School, yet Premier Sophie believes that the department is still capable of large-scale projects, but its track record from the Suke Borosbrand project to Kutzon Clinic says otherwise. We want to know, Premier, how many of the 18 schools promised last year were built? Because as things stand, we are faced with scores of unfinished school projects like Rooster de Val Secondary School, Tuvelike, to name the few. The department in its current state is dysfunctional and hinders economic growth. We are not confident that it is capable of large-scale social and economic infrastructure projects, and it remains to be seen how a unity for bulk infrastructure will perform. The economic freedom fighters is of the view that a firm and decisive COGTA is necessary to ensure that municipalities which are the driving force of the province are supported towards being highly functional and responsive to service delivery and needs to revenue generation. This was, however, not adequately reflected in the plans put forward. Coming here, Premier, we had envisioned that the looming water crisis caused by ailing water infrastructure will be treated with urgency and as an elevated priority of this administration. This is why we welcome the admission that integrated planning as well as a cooperative governance needs to be strengthened to avoid instances where municipalities like Tshwane pass turnaround strategies that privatize sewer maintenance and bundle services like electricity within the same portfolio as water and sanitation, despite the municipality history of failing to provide clean water for its residents. Still on supporting municipality, the Premier last year outlined plans to provide workable solutions for the people of Kutzoni and the sinkhole crisis, as well as combat-ready disaster management center to ensure that municipalities are responsive towards disasters. However, it seems as if no solutions were provided and the 42 million disaster management center is not yet operational, despite the ever-growing threat of disasters owing to climate change. Another department that has continued to shock the conscience of this province is the Department of Social Development. This department, which caters for so many of the vulnerable, has been rocked to this day by a defunding scandal, which has left so many beneficiaries desolate and stranded. Social development must not only be looked upon as a government providing for the people, social development must necessarily mean a government that creates the necessary conditions for individuals to self-develop and self-sustain. When certain NGOs are defunded by the government, this creates a serious and worrying imbalances. Jobs are lost, families cannot sustain themselves, and the burden once again falls on the poor and the marginalized. In cahoots with the dysfunctional state of the Department of Social Development, it is the crisis that the healthcare sector in this province faces. We must once again mention the diagnosis within the context of the poor. For 3 years, Honorable Premier has dangled the possibility of moving to an e-health database where patients and community health care centers as well as hospitals can record, capture and monitor patient data in order to improve efficiency and deliver quality services to our people. The current backlog of oncology patients, while the department has tried, leaves much to be desired. Hospitals are run by understaffed and overworked personnel. Instead of capacitating the department by hiring full-time staff, the Department of Health continues to rely on an unstable method of 12-month contract. As the EFF will call for the insourcing and permanent placing of all casual workers, as well as the placement of over 800 qualified nursing staff whom to date have not been placed. Premier, you have made a habit of dehumanizing the unemployed people of Gauteng, particularly the youth, in making them wait in long queues for jobs and skilling programs that never materialize. And you want to continue with this through the program to upskill another 500,000, many of whom who will wait on long queues and send in applications only to be ghosted, like those who stood on queues to register on the 13th and the 14th of April 2024 for the Gauteng Jobs and Skills Program. Ghosted like the thousands of Gauteng youth who stood in long queues on the 16th of June 2023 applying for Nancy Spani jobs. The Nancy Spani, which has today fallen apart, 6,000 of the participants of Green Army are now unemployed, some of whom weren't paid for the last 2 months they worked. 32,000 teachers' assistants also unemployed. Even now, the Premier still refuses to engage on the insourcing of the security guards within the legislature. We do not have confidence in this administration to create sustainable jobs. The economic freedom fighters has previously been very vocal against Mapanya, who crashed 22 luxury BMWs in less than 12 months and have regularly been accused of using excessive force within working class communities, all while Gauteng saw an increased contact crimes like residential robberies for the third quarter of 2023-2024. We had hoped you will update us on the 400 police vehicles deployed in each ward, on how many of the 180 drones are operational, as well as places other than George Cork Hostel, which have been connected with the high-tech CCTV cameras, and most importantly, how all these initiatives have aided in apprehension and reducing crime. In conclusion, we had hoped that this SOPA will be a balanced account of the progress made from the previous SOPA, as well as the shortcomings and what is yet to come. We once more reiterate that you should leave Mother Teresa to rest and embodify Hirigwala. In doing so, we will work towards radical, meaningful change for the people of Gauteng. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Makwala. Honorable Moriarty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, did I hear Honourable MEC Mamabolo correct? He said something like that before the end of August, the Premier will improve the face of Johannesburg. I would remind him it's the 20th today and the end of August is the 31st. He's got exactly 11 days, so we look forward to that. Madam Speaker, the Premier emphasised the artificial intelligence in his SOPA. Of course, this intelligence, so to speak, doesn't exist in a physical human being, hence artificial. He also spoke at length of various matters regarding to the economy. Regrettably, much of what he spoke about was imaginary. Virtually none of it exists, at least not now, and we can justifiably conclude that the Premier was speaking about an artificial economy. He talked about billions of rands of investments, and we've heard about billions of rands of investments before, and last year and the year before that. And indeed, the budget of economic development vote passed recently claims precisely this, but we never see it. The Business Day helpfully added up all of the investments cited by the Premier, and it totaled a grand total of 137 billion rand. Far lower than the figure quoted by the Premier last Thursday, but whatever. The fact is that nearly all of that investment, 120 billion rand, is supposed to come from the province. Only 17 billion will be coming from private sources, and I'm guarded when I say this because I was reminded by my colleague, AXA is not private and neither is Transnet. So where does this 120 billion come from, Mr. Premier? Because after all, the National Treasury has cut back our provincial equitable share. So where's the money going to come from? The fact is that you have hoovered up 10 billion rand of accumulated surplus to pay for Nasi Spani. So where will the money come from? You're forcing the province to borrow money to pay for an 14 billion e-toll debt that is not ours to pay. Madam Speaker, what is our capital budget for this year? It's 13 billion rand. And next year, 13 billion rand, and the year after, 11 billion rand. That's a total of 37 billion rand. That's what we've set aside in our budget. Yet the Premier talks about 10 times that, 120 billion rand. Where is it, Mr. Premier? Perhaps you're factoring in local government budgets like Johannesburg, which has a capital budget of around 7 billion rand, but I would remind you that they're finding extreme difficulty raising finance and will probably not even spend all of it. And Tshwane's budget is 2.3 and Ekurhuleni's it's 2.9. Doesn't add up to 120 billion, Mr. Premier. Mr. Premier, if the picture you painted was real and not artificial, then surely it would be reflected in the quarterly labour force statistics released recently. It doesn't. Unemployment and the amount of people in Gauteng that are without jobs went up, not down, despite what you like to say about job creation in your speech. More people are unemployed than they were before. And in fact, you were backed up this morning by Honourable Mosupyoe, who wanted to quote about GP being the largest in the job growth. It's still 35% unemployment. Western Cape is still 22% unemployment. I put to you, a parent would rather have their child leave school in Western Cape than leave school in Gauteng. And in fact, you spoke about having launched priority areas for 3,000 megawatts of energy. I'll come back to that, but it talks about an economy that is growing. And Honourable Mosupyoe as well, he spoke correctly about the Ford having located in Tshwane as opposed to Brazil. But I would remind Honourable Mosupyoe that it was under the then Mayor, Honourable Solim Simanga, that routed water pipes to the site. And this is the same Tshwane that you deride so frequently. It's the same Tshwane that routed electricity cables to the site and installed new transformers under Honourable Msimanga and extended the road infrastructure to the site. For your information, Honourable Mosupyoe. But coming back to the 3,000 megawatts of electricity, I want to remind honourable members what that is. That's 3 or 4 power stations. Where are you going to put these power stations in Gauteng? And even at a cost, one power station like Kusile costs 230 billion rand. Where are you going to get the money from? Are you talking about solar power? If you're talking about solar power, you will need 8,000 soccer fields to build a solar farm to deliver 3,000 megawatts. And Honourable Boho, unfortunately, John Ware and Durban is 100 megawatts, not 3,000. You've promised to reskill 500,000 unemployed residents, and when you work out the numbers you quoted, it's 16,000 rand each. Honourable Premier, to skill up somebody to work in coding or anything like that, it's 64,000 rand. It's 4 times how much you've set aside in your speech. And I would put to you, it's one thing to reskill the people, good, but you really need to place the people. Now, we used to have Tsepo 1 million, and we used to have Harambee helping us. They failed. Why? Perhaps we need to understand that, but at least they placed the people that were being skilled. Next month will be interesting because we will receive annual reports from all government departments and we'll see exactly what has been achieved in terms of this economy. You will see also on the 3rd of September, the Stats SA will release the GDP data. We'll see if all of those initiatives you did in the previous year actually made a difference. Now, there is a difference, Mr. Premier, with what we would do and what you are doing. What we would do is we would ensure any target that our Premier sets would be reflected in the annual performance plans and the targets that are set there. At the moment, there's no relations, and your GEP and your GGTDA has low targets. They don't meet what you expect them to do. They don't meet your vision, and they can't even get over that
time is
low
up,
bar.
Honourable Moriarty. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Honourable Chairman.
Well done, Mike. Thank you, President. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, Honourable Premier, members of the Executive Council, honourable members and the people of Gauteng. This debate on the State of the Province address, which was delivered by Gauteng Premier Panyaza Sophie this past Thursday evening in Katlehong in Ekurhuleni, takes place in Women's Month and just 11 days since the commemoration of the 1956 Women's March in Pretoria to protest the introduction of the apartheid pass laws for black women in 1952. One of the leaders of that march, Isi Twalandwe Sia Parankwe, Comrade Sophie Williams de Bruin, was a member of this House from 2004 to 2009, and she also served as the Deputy Speaker from 2005 to 2009. And we need to thank her for her lifelong dedication and service. It's through the incredible sacrifices that she made that we have the privilege to sit in this chamber today, and we must never forget that. We must never take it for granted that we attained the democratic freedoms we have today as a by the way, as some people seem to think. It was because of the selfless contribution and activism of so many women over the decades-long struggle for freedom, that many of whom gave their lives and spent years in prison, that we sit in this House today. We must not take it for granted. We sit here today because of the blood, sweat and tears of hundreds of thousands of South Africans over the decades and centuries in the struggle for freedom. Let's pay tribute to the women of Gauteng and appreciate the role that each of them play each day in shaping our society. This is the first debate on the State of the Province address in the 7th Legislature, which sets the scene and tone for the coming term of office. Each one of us sits here today in this House not because it's our birthright, but because of the votes cast on the 29th of May this year. Therefore, we have a duty to represent the electorate in Gauteng with humility and dignity. We have a duty to hear and listen to them. We have a duty to work together to ensure that their dreams and aspirations are reached through the work of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. This debate also takes place in the 30th year of our democracy. Over the past 30 years, a lot of positive change has taken place. Gauteng has changed significantly for the better. However, still more work needs to be done. President Ramaphosa said in the ANC 2024 election manifesto, and I quote, "Our country has come a long way. We have made incredible strides and achieved so much. However, even after 30 years of freedom in democracy, our journey towards the South Africa that our people truly desire is far from over. We still have more hills to climb." Close quote. The election manifesto of the ANC clearly outlines its vision and plan, which are covered under 6 priority areas to transform the economy and create jobs. And these priority areas are putting South Africa to work, building our industries to achieve an inclusive economy, tackling the high cost of living, investing in people, defending democracy and advancing freedom, building a better Africa and better world, should I say. It moves from being a manifesto on paper to tangible action. In the State of the Nation address on the 18th of July, President Ramaphosa said, and I quote, "Despite the achievements of 30 years of democracy, and the work undertaken over the last 5 years to rebuild our economy and our society, millions of South Africans remain poor, unemployed, and live in a highly unequal society. For a decade and a half, our economy has barely grown. Our experience shows over the past 30 years that when the economy grows, jobs are created. When our economy contracts, there is no job creation and jobs are lost, quote, close quote. What is now required is that we need to act together with great urgency, boldly and decisively. If we work together, we can achieve so much more than if we try and work as individuals. The State of the Province address gives us a clear implementation plan. Previously, there are those in this House, and I see some of them are still in this House, that have described Premier Lesofie's bold plans and pronouncements as mere pipe dreams. Clearly, they are the ones who have pipe dreams. These so-called pipe dreams have positively impacted on the lives of countless thousands throughout Gauteng. An example, no, you must listen. You must listen. Learn to listen. It'll help you. An example of a so-called pipe dream, are the crime wardens or traffic wardens as they are known today. Personally, I've had the privilege and the opportunity to interact with close on 2,000 of these traffic wardens across our province. They are young men and women who are extremely excited about the opportunity they have been given to help make a difference in their communities. They take great pride in wearing their green uniform and the work they do, and they are extremely angry and are still extremely angry at the highly offensive remarks that were made about them. And it's about time that individual apologizes for those offensive remarks. Parents and community members alike indicated the difference the traffic wardens are making in their communities. They take great pride in wearing the green uniform. Another so-called pipe dream is the transformer replacement program, which has seen 485 transformers being replaced to date and switched on in communities across the province. This program has restored electricity to thousands of households across the province. One just has to witness the joy and excitement as transformers are switched on to understand the impact this is having on households. Those who have had their electricity reconnected will tell you it is far from being a pipe dream. There are countless other interventions which have changed the lives of people in Gauteng. Going forward, the plans announced in the State of the Province address are exciting, from revitalising the CBD of Johannesburg to new investments to the construction of the high-speed Limpopo-Gauteng train to the continued rollout of the e-panic and physical buttons to the expansion of transport services to the refurbishment of hostels, amongst others. We are clearly in for exciting times ahead. In order for this to happen, a professional and dedicated public service is required at all levels. We implore the officials in all provincial departments to go the extra mile every day to ensure that the plans and programs of the Gauteng provincial government are implemented in an efficient and effective manner, improving the lives of the people of Gauteng. Whilst the restoration of rail lines and stations and the resumption of rail services welcomed serves to reduce the financial burden that was placed on commuters because of the vandalism that took place, it is important that adequate security is in place to ensure the protection of this vital transport infrastructure. The emphasis on tourism is welcomed, as it will play an important role in helping to grow the economy of Gauteng. We need to make Gauteng a destination of choice for visitors to our country. Too many land in Gauteng and go straight to other destinations rather than spending time in Gauteng. The plans to revitalise the Carlton Centre precinct are welcomed and are fully supported. The plan to convert the Carlton Centre should not exclude preserving and showcasing some of the history of this hotel. There are many events that happened at the hotel, and that history could be used for a museum that could help to once again draw tourists and crowds. Negotiations between mine owners and striking mine workers were led by President Ramaphosa at the Carlton Hotel in 1987. Our icon and the first democratically elected president, the late Nelson Mandela celebrated his 75th birthday in the hotel's ballroom. These are just some of the historic happenings at the hotel that need to be preserved. Gauteng's road network is not keeping pace with the growth in motor vehicle usage and is expected to reach gridlock by 2030, just 6 years from now. The restoration of PRASA-operated rail lines are seeing commuters return to trains, but urgent steps need to be taken to unlock additional funding for the construction of new roads and also to make safe and efficient public transport available to all communities in Gauteng. The Ukuvuselela project to modernise the existing rail line between Tshwane and Port Elizabeth is welcomed. Rail is by far one of the best ways to transport freight and containerised cargo between ports and inland ports. In Gauteng, we need to look at how we can bring freight and containerised cargo closer to industrial areas. Container terminals were established in the past in Tshwane, Nigel and Vereeniging in years gone by, and consideration should be given to what role these facilities could play going forward. The focus on redeveloping hostels and upgrading informal settlements needs to happen with speed. In the 6th legislature, the Portfolio Committee visited India and saw examples of how they are dealing with the upgrading and elimination, or doing away, should I say, with informal settlements. And we should look to countries like India and Brazil for best practice models that we could implement. The ANC welcomes the plans announced and work underway, which we firmly believe will take Gauteng to new heights. What is crucially important is the timely, efficient and effective implementation of all the plans that were announced by Premier Sophie. We call on those who will be involved in making these plans happen, whether they be in the public service, whether they be contractors or suppliers or any other role they may play. Please understand, you're expected to use state resources for the purposes that they are meant for. Please understand, these resources are meant for the benefit of the people of Gauteng and not yourselves. Madam Speaker, through you to the Premier, we ask that where there is a misuse of state resources, the full might of the law must be unleashed, and those found guilty must experience the full might of the law. The elections have come and gone, and it's time to roll up our sleeves and get down to work. But as I close, I want to just say that I must say I was impressed by the leader of the DA, the tone of his speech here today, and I thought it was very reconciliatory and very constructive. However, members of your caucus decided to part ways with you here. They've gone a different direction, and they decided to use a destructive approach in this particular debate. And I would urge members of your caucus to listen to how you have spoken here today and follow suit with you. Other members, I just want to say.
Your time is up, Honourable Chairman.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, I need your attention. The speaking list indicates that I should be suspending the House now, and that we come back to allow the Premier to respond. He has indicated that he is ready, so the House will not be suspended. We are proceeding. Can the Secretary please read the second order? Or perhaps maybe before the Secretary reads the second order, for members that want to go and have lunch, you can do that in reasonable numbers, but the Premier is going to proceed. Secretary, the second order, please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Premier's reply to the debate on the state of the provincial address. Thank you.
Premier.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the leadership of members of the Executive Council, the Deputy Speaker in absentia, the Chief Whip, as well as the leader of the opposition, Honourable Solim Simang, and the leadership of various political parties that are in the legislature. I also want to acknowledge members that are joining us from the gallery, and also appreciate the retired members that came to join us today, and other members representing various sectors of our society. Honourable members, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for initiating this debate and ensuring that this particular debate responds to issues that we have raised in our previous State of the Province address. But I want to thank the community of Katlehong for openly welcoming us in our community, even though we might have inconvenienced them with the number of traffic cars that came there. But in the ultimate end, we have demonstrated one point, that every community deserves to host us and to listen to us. I also want to thank all those that responded positively to our invite to join us. We had representatives from business, representatives from Vodacom, and all the companies that we have mentioned that they were ready to host us. I also want to thank the Executive Mayor of Ekurhuleni and members of the Executive Council of Ekurhuleni who embraced our presence in their city and provided all the relevant resources that were needed to have a successful State of the Province. I want to thank Pastor Nzo for allowing us to use this church as a place where we could deliver the State of the Province address. Honourable members, when we debate, we sometimes miss crucial points. When we argue, we sometimes miss facts. When we present debates, we sometimes take for granted that there are things that have been done before and we need to learn from those things. I come to you proud that in the last 18 months, the following words were known in this house. Transformers were not a language that was familiar in this particular house. Today, we can speak about transformers. In this house, Nasi-Spani was nothing that was unknown in this house. Today, we can speak about Nasi-Spani because within 18 months, 130,000 young people that were unemployed, as I'm speaking to you now, they are receiving a salary from this government. "18 months ago, we didn't have helicopters in this province. Actually, the law enforcement agencies in this particular province didn't even have a single helicopter. As I'm speaking to you now, 3 new helicopters have been hired by this government to give support to law enforcement agencies in our province. When we spoke to you 18 months ago in this particular house, 8,000 CCTV cameras was not the language of this house. 8,000 CCTV cameras that will be unleashed to identify people that are stealing our cars, to identify people that are marking our people, to identify communities that needed protection. Today in this particular house, we can now speak about CCTV cameras, and we are proud that Sandral is handing over CCTV cameras that were part of the ETOLs, 470 to be precise, and all major municipalities are linking their CCTV cameras to work with us. 18 months ago, no one spoke about e-panic buttons in this house. 18 months ago, close to 3,000 people that have downloaded our app never thought that there will be a response when they press an e-panic button to be assisted in our province. I'm raising all these things and many other issues that I can raise to demonstrate that anyone that stand in this house and said the things that we have promised to do in the last 18 months were nothing but pipe dreams, that statement is not only unfounded, but is baseless. We want to take your leave and thank the person that advised to Honourable Member Msimang that it will not assist us to argue unnecessarily. I want to thank you that you indeed led by presenting your argument with respect, succinctly, but most importantly, with an intention to build, not to destroy. from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you. And it's for the very first time that I said, here is somebody that is putting something concrete for us to work together. And I want to say, Member Msimang, you indeed represented what we all say. Let's bury our ideological differences and put the interest of our province at heart. And I'll respond in detail on some of the issues that we have. But it was MEC Mamabolo that captured the essence that your team didn't follow you, which is very unfortunate. As a leader, you need to lead at all times. As a leader, you openly said the following speakers that will represent your party are going to follow on your footsteps. But I must indicate they didn't follow on your footsteps, which is work in progress. Let's not dismiss it. It's work in progress because it's led by somebody who was a mayor, was an advisor of a mayor in Johannesburg, Member Moriarty, who could not even advise the mayor to ensure that Johannesburg municipality prospered. He wants to come here and lecture us about artificial intelligence and how artificial intelligence works, when the mess we want to resolve in Johannesburg and Johannesburg City was led by somebody who relied on his advice and guidance, and he didn't provide that advice and guidance. It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. But Dr. Masuku advised me, if you rattle with a pig, it will be difficult for people to know the difference between you and the pig. And I'm reluctantly not going to rattle with any other person in a mud, because that is not going to assist us. Ladies and gentlemen, when Nelson Mandela was arrested, no one thought Nelson Mandela would be freed. People told us it's impossible. People told us that this apartheid regime has the resources to ensure that apartheid is defended. Today, as we speak, not only Nelson Mandela was released from jail because of our struggles, but he went to lead a government, the first government of this country. So even the issues that you are raising here that they are impossible for us to do, we'll listen to you. But we know we are committed to bring back a new Johannesburg City. We are committed to ensure that the CBD where we are today, it will be a better CBD where people can do investment, where people can play, and where people can be in a position to live in this particular city. If you think we'll not succeed, we are not going to say anything to you. Watch this space. We will succeed, and we will be in a position to deal with these things. It can be 30 years as you want to. The problem with you is that the pain of apartheid, you don't want to count it because it benefited you. The pain of it has been more than 30 years where your ancestors and your parents oppressed us. You can say whatever you want to say. Let me say this to you. Your ancestors may have oppressed our ancestors. Your parents may have oppressed our parents. Your sisters may have oppressed our sisters. But your parents and your children will never oppress our children and our children's children. That will never happen. It will never happen. It ended with you. It will never go beyond where we are. Member Msimang, I take your advice that we need to ensure that we bring everyone who wants to come to our province and we create opportunities. But I differ with you strongly. If we have to ensure that people don't have to leave Limpopo because their job statistics are going down, if we have to ensure that people don't leave Northwest because they've got the highest unemployment rate that we have so correctly alluded, if we want to ensure that people of Mpumalanga don't come to Gauteng to look for jobs, it means our diagnosis of ensuring that economic centers of these provinces that are closer to us, we must play a concrete role to upgrade them so that people go there rather than come to our areas by the opportunities that we have. So your argument, therefore, is an argument that you accept, but unfortunately the recommendation that we want to. Member Msimang, Rustenburg will never grow towards Mafikeng. Mafikeng is too far. Rustenburg can only grow towards Krugersdorp, Randfontein, Magaliesburg. And therefore, if you have to leave from Garankuwa to go to Rustenburg, it takes you less than 35 minutes. And therefore, it's very important that the mining development around Rustenburg and the potential of Rustenburg, we harness it as Gauteng and take advantage of that to grow it. And that's an area that we are prepared to invest on roads. That's an area that we are prepared to invest in people that wants to open factories. That's an area that we are prepared that the new Lanseria airport will play a meaningful role to respond to that aspect. Our approach is very simple. Even though we don't appreciate this element of cargo, where finished goods are just brought in our country, but we must accept that Harrismith is strategically located because it's halfway all over. It's halfway in Mpumalanga, halfway Bloemfontein, halfway KZN, halfway Gauteng. And cargo, by its definition, wants to be closer to either businesses or residents. And therefore, our approach, not to invest in Harrismith, but to encourage Harrismith to grow towards Gauteng. It's a strategic new area that will assist people that need cargo in that particular area. And therefore, either the Harrismith airport or the new cargo area around Harrismith, the building of warehouses and the building of factories, and to ensure that the knowledge that we have harnessed around the R21, where we've put lots of warehouses there, it's transmitted to Harrismith so that it creates opportunities that we have. You may differ with us, but we have never presented a counter motion in this particular House on the value propositions that we have presented on this issue. It is unfortunate that the issue of teacher assistance is being used the way it's been used. As this provincial government, we had nothing to do with teacher assistants in 2020. Teacher assistants were appointed by national government in 2020 to assist schools during COVID. That was a program of national government. And when national government terminated contracts of these children across the country, we were the only province to stand up to assist 32,000 children so that they are not hit by unemployment. And our argument was very simple. Until national government explains how this program will be carried going forward, it will be difficult for us to carry this program perpetually. National government has come back, and they've outlined that they will carry this 32,000 and many other young people that are across the program. So there is now a program on how we'll deal with this particular matter, and those that have appointed these young people will outline the new recruitment process of continuing this program. It's not a disaster. We intervened when young people needed us most. And when we intervened, we're told these are gimmicks. I'm glad Member Ngobeni raised it even again. When we intervened because we are of the view, good people, while we are attracting AXA, while we are attracting Transnet, APSA, Vodacom, young people need something to eat today. So it must be an interim intervention and a permanent intervention. And this was an interim intervention, and now with the plans that we've put, we'll be in a position to deal with all these particular issues. Indeed, Member Msimang, we need to build a capable state. We need to ensure that growing Gauteng together 2030 realizes its objectives and its goals. We need to agree that the National Development Plan have set targets for all of us. We need to agree that we have incorporated the statement of intent. This is the statement that assisted us to establish government at national level. And we can honestly declare that progress has been made, but progress sometimes has its own limitation. We never expected this huge population growth. We never expected this huge migration. We never expected these high levels of crime and vandalism. We never also expected that the economy and some of the things that confronted us, like COVID, would be in a position to hit us. But to say we've never done anything in the last 30 years, it is indeed a miscarriage of reality. When we started 1994, a company that became big and is still big now, like MTN, was not there. When we came in 1994, a stadium called FNB Stadium was not there. When we came in 1994, a major mall like Mall of Africa was not there. And I can go on to quote some of the schools, the new communities like Orange Farm, new developments in Midrand, Alberton, and new developments across the province that came out of the initiative of this government and local authorities that we led. There might be challenges, but don't hide the truth. There might be limitations, but don't be blind on developments that have made our province to be better. Our province from 1994 to date, there might be areas where it does not look good. There are many areas where it looks good, purely because of the development that we have made in this particular province. So I accept your challenge, MEC Msimang, that we need to build a stronger vision, and a stronger vision that takes into consideration that the timelines that we put for ourselves are timelines that are approaching, and therefore we might find ourselves in a difficult area. I said it, Member Msimang, and it is in the speech, that all the MECs that I have the honor to lead, within the first 100 days, they will be in a position to sign performance agreements. I said it, that those performance agreements will make them public. We've never defended that the performance agreements will be made public. Actually, those that serve in the 6th administration, they can tell you, all of them have signed performance agreements. I'm glad, and the MECs are here, that our approach is to bring everyone. And even when we're delivering this particular speech, for the very, very first time, and the MECs are here, we presented the speech to all the MECs a day before we delivered the speech, so that the MECs must not say, the Premier, you made an announcement on something that we're not aware, we are not going to implement it. What we said when we delivered the State of the Nation address, it's everything that this MEC participated in, and all of them, without exception, embraced this particular speech, meaning the formulation of performance agreement will be the easiest thing to do because we planned this together. But most importantly, Member Msimang, you have raised that we've announced lifestyle audits of officials. We've not announced the lifestyle audits of MECs. This is a continuation of the processes that we started. I went through a lifestyle audit. All the MECs went through a lifestyle audit. The MECs that are currently coming will be given that opportunity whether they want to go through that lifestyle audit. The last MECs that came when they were not part of the 6th administration where they was established, they were requested to go to a lifestyle audit. They've gone to a lifestyle audit. We are waiting for their results. When their results come, we will be in a position to announce whatever that is contained in those particular audits. So there's nothing to hide. And therefore, an argument that we are subjecting our officials to a process that ourselves have not gone through is misplaced. It's not true. We are committed, and we are going to go even beyond that. And we can even ask members of official position, whether yourself, are you ready to join us to go through this lifestyle audit? So that all of us, we go through this process in this particular house so that no one is left behind. So we can do that if you feel we need to do it. Member Msimang, I share your frustration on whistleblowers. I honestly do. But we need to ensure that we coordinate all these efforts led by our national government. Because we can't establish our own rules alone as a province or as local government without the cover of national government that have the capacity to have institutions like NPA, Hawks, and SIU. So it's very important, therefore, that we collectively, in the spirit that we have started, we collectively made that plea as this House for national government through our representative at NCOP to start the process to protect whistleblowers. Because that's a very important intervention that you are raising so that we can deal with it. Unfortunately, when you mention Babita and the challenges that she's going through, I'm really proud that the police have arrested his killers. And I'm really proud that those that have killed her, they must declare who sent them, and the police must go after those that must send them. And that it means that the police have done their work, but they need to conclude this part. And when I interacted with those that are following this particular case, they continue to say they are on the tracks of those that made this decision for her to be assassinated. And we will follow that until it's finalized. Let's not interfere with law enforcement agencies, but provide them with the relevant support that we had. The decision we've taken about e-tolls is a decision that we felt was important. And we can go on to explain the rationale of the decision that we have taken. We were paying almost 27 billion rands per annum on interest on the e-tolls. 27. And the principal amount of close to 47 billion was remaining unchanged. So we were deriving pleasure in paying the interest and not halving the principal amount. And it was the time bomb that was going to catch up with us. If you check how much has been paid thus far, if you check up how much has been paid thus far, I will not be wrong to say it's more than the principal amount that we owed. We took a decision. We'll rather pay the principal amount and have out this debt forever rather than carry this debt and transfer it to our children and our children's children. And we are proud that we have taken that decision. And we say, and I want you to speak to Member Msimang, we want you to speak to, if you say the payment that we are going to make of 2 billion or so in the next month or so, it means that we are cutting somewhere. Read the speech. We are enhancing our revenue collection so that we can be in a position to cover for this particular debt. We are saying, listen, if you listen, it will assist all of us. We are saying we are putting new systems on 3 of our revenue streams that are very important. The first one is the traffic licensing collection. Majority of our money, led by Tshwane municipality, that is owing us almost 300 million, is that when they collect money for us, instead of taking what belongs to them and pass over what belongs to us, they hold everything, including the old post office that collapsed with our money. Fortunately, they paid us back. So we are putting new revenue systems. The investment in health, it's clearly saying there are people with medical aid. When their medical aid have expired in private hospital, they come to public hospital because they don't have money. When their medical aid is loaded again, they run away. We say when your medical aid is loaded again, we'll go to the same medical aid and take what belongs to us back into public coffers. If you check the increase in gambling, online gambling, where we are not present, we are putting systems so that what is due for government in online gambling can come back. We are putting up advertisement revenue on the railway. So the revenue enhancement, we believe it will shield the amount you say ordinary people will pay, which is something that is not true. It's something that we've put, and we have put the necessary investment. Let me indicate the issue of maintenance of the road. Colleagues, honorable members, if we didn't break the backbone on the e-tolls, all our highways were continuing to be parking bays in the morning and in the afternoon, because we reached a deadlock on the maintenance of these particular roads. And tell me how much money is lost in those freeways, where people for hours and hours, they are just parking on our highways. For us to agree to maintain is to unblock and to move to the next infrastructure investment in our province. It's only those who don't understand these things that will continue to say the removal of e-tolls is nothing else but a gimmick. It's not a gimmick. It's a real demonstration of our willingness to improve our infrastructure in our province. There is an uncle in a furniture business, Joshua Dom. You know, this argument that the investment of Transnet in our province is meaningless, it really baffles me. This argument that AXA's investment is nothing else because Treasury is cutting money and say there's no money. It shows laziness to read the books and financial records of these institutions. Go to the books of AXA and check what we are talking about is not there. It has already started. People said that we must not speak about investment that are in the future. You must speak about something that is happening now. Go to OR Tambo and see the development that is taking place there at the airport. And this is part of this investment that we are talking about. Go there and check how many people are now being employed in that particular investment and the expansions and the plans. Go to the municipality and check the submission that has been sent by AXA for expansion and land improvement in that area. It demonstrates that this investment is there. It's not something that still relies on National Treasury to release their funds and to release their resources. It's just unfortunate. When you come to this house and talk about temporary jobs, we are told about permanent jobs. When we come here and speak about permanent jobs, we are told they are not there, those particular jobs. It's very unfortunate. But we are determined to move ahead with this investment because we really believe these are investments that are going to assist us. Member Msimang, our electricity investment and intervention within 6 months, it's something that I don't think there's anyone, and I was listening attentively, there's anyone in this particular house can say that we didn't achieve that. There are 2 generating stations that were closed. Those 2 generation stations are giving us 100 megawatts, Member Makwala. Something that was not there. And you say that we have 5 schools that were putting generators, Member Msimang. We are not putting generators. We've put solar on top of the roofs of those particular schools. 5 schools. It's not generators. Yes, it's solar. It's solar. And all our clinics or the clinics that we've identified, we've also put solar within 6 months. Within 6 months. So we will continue with this kind of investment in some of our schools, so that majority of our schools are moved away from load shedding. You have raised the issue of stipend, and you have raised it correctly, that you want to know where it comes from. And I don't know how much more should I explain this. We've got 8 billion from UIF. That's where the stipends are coming from. We've got money from expanded public works nationally, managed by Department of DID. That's where the stipends come. We've got 1.1 billion from the skill funds. That's where the stipends come. We've allocated from our own coffers money as well from Treasury, Provincial Treasury, to the Department of Social Development on some of the programs, Department of eGov for some of their programs. So this comes from a partnership with national government. We have put up a solar panel training program from a sitter, mere sitter, and are the ones that are paying these stipends. If there's someone who wants to paint a picture that in our rush to create opportunities for people, we are bankrupting this government, that particular view must not only be suspended, but must be removed. We are responsible in our approach. We are analyzing every budget item, and we are proud that the financial status and the financial health status of this provincial government is as healthy as possible. Even though we have gone through the budget cuts that we have gone through and the challenges that we have. So, Member Msimang, let me say thank you so much for your input. I truly appreciate all the ideas that you have presented. We still appreciate the areas that we still need improvement. You are right about the hostels. Member Nsege raised something that you agree, but it's the guidance of our partners. It's not us. We listen to our partners. Our partners say the hostels, the way they are no longer single-sex hostels. And therefore, our improvement, because, you know, if you have a single-sex hostel, even the toilet seats are meant for that single sex. But when there is everyone, you have to adjust it. And the commitment we've made is to adjust so that it accommodates everyone that stays in those particular hostels. And indeed, it saddens us. And that's the reason why I want to invest that, Member Msimang, that your Madala Hospital, Madala Hostel, or Helen Joseph is the way it is. Not us, it's local government. Those are not our hostels. And the investment that we are talking about, the irony of it is that it was made by the advice of Member Muriati, because it was local government under them that made Helen Joseph the investment that we are talking about. It's not us. It's the guidance of Member Muriati. So we agree we need to improve them. We agree that we need to improve them, and we are willing to ensure that we provide the necessary improvement that is needed to them. Thanks, Chief Whip, Member Makubeni. We will attract investment in our province. It's just that the list was too long. I can publish additional list after we've made the announcement that we've made. There are so many companies that came to us to say, we want to be part of this. We want to revitalize Gauteng. So it's going to be investment, 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 and more investment. We will push where we can to ensure that those that come to our province will deal with the issues that we are dealing with. And I'm glad that all the issues that we've presented here, including the analysis that Member Murad has given of Business Day and business, I've been listening to all commentators. There is no one that has found fault on the investment that we've announced. No one. Because those particular investments, we were part of the negotiations, the discussions, and we know where we stand and the support that is needed from those investments. Member Koma, I take your point that we might say load shedding is an end. It was your CIC who addressed a press conference and boldly said, after we voted on the 29th of May, on the 30th of May, load shedding will come back. It was your CIC in a press conference. I've lost dates, how many days to now that load shedding is not yet back. So, your suspicions are grounded because you have to follow the leader. Your suspicions are grounded because there are many people that think there's nothing good that this government can do. And within that mentality, even if we've ensured that load shedding doesn't happen, the entire winter, we are at the tail end of winter. People can argue that you don't praise the fish for swimming, but the reality that if that fish is swimming in a pool without water, we must praise that particular fish. So, we just want to ensure that everything that we do it correctly, but importantly, You advised us to invest in tamper-proof equipment. We've gone beyond that. The new, and Memam Simang said, the transformers that we've put, they've blown. And I didn't want to argue because to put a transformer, we agreed with our service provider, the processes that need to be followed. That we can't put a new transformer until we've removed illegal connections. We can't put a new transformer until we've put a new meter system. You can't put a transformer until you have redemarcated the capacity of that particular transformer. Because it was going to be naive to put a transformer and it dies the following day. So this is the investment of tamper-proof. But we have gone beyond that. It's just our security team always advised me to say, Premier, don't go overboard and explain the security features that we've put in these transformers because we'll alert criminals. So it's not only tamper-proof. We have yet there's a service provider that was coming from City Power where they found transformers in their yard. So, but I take your guidance. But let me tell you this. You say we must set up tax incentive initiatives. Our special economic zones are established for that purpose. And that is why Citibank is going to invest in the special economic zone in the Val, purely because of the incentives that we have put in that particular area. Member Sharif, I really don't want to argue with you. I wish I can listen to you, but if you scream and shout, it's very difficult to... yeah, you must minimize speaking louder. Lower the volume so that we can hear you. But let me tell you this. You may not like it. There are 130,000 people that were waking up in this country without an employment opportunity. Of the 130,000, which we can fill FNB Stadium and Ellis Park Stadium, this particular individual today, they're not asking for donation or handouts or 350 Rand grant. They're going to their own bank to get their own money. If that is not good enough, then there's nothing good enough for you. Member Mahlabe, I just want to thank you to jointly acknowledging what is good, but at the same time picking up what is wrong. We'll also respect your political standpoint on government of national unity, its establishment and its positioning. I take your point on cable theft. I also take note and will discuss with the team the non-payment of service providers within the required time and the traffic lights that have been vandalized and illegal mining that is taking place. I also take advice and your kindness that I must not quote Mother Teresa alone, and that I must proceed to ensure that I quote other leaders. And I can assure you, in my next State of the Province address, there is a likelihood that I'll quote Umsholozi when I open up the statement. So I want to thank you for that advice. Member Ngobeni, thank you for acknowledging the things that we could do, and thank you for bringing to attention the struggles of the security companies that we have brought to our attention. You know, the problem is that, and the MEC was sharing this information with me, that maybe the economic freedom fighters are right when they say that you need to insource this task. That you hire people to deliver a service. If they can't conclude that service, retrench people, we have to carry the burden. Because if those people were security of the department, I can assure you would have resolved it. But they represent another institution. But we have to attend to it, and I've been assured by the MEC that together with her team, they're attending this. And thanks for understanding that the investment that we are making now are sustainable and that those investments will assist us to deal with the issues that we need to deal with them. will never abandon or agree to leave incomplete construction sites. Actually, if there's something that the MECs will tell you, we're meeting on Sundays, 3 o'clock, whether Chiefs or Sundowns is playing, 3 o'clock Sundays. I meet with all the MECs and all infrastructure-led departments. There will be no new infrastructure in Gauteng that will be incomplete. No new. And I said to the CFOs and the HODs, they dare appoint somebody for a new infrastructure building when that particular person has left an incomplete infrastructure. That CEO and HOD will walk. Because we can't have people that, we can't have some people that start a project here incomplete, they're given another tender, start a project incomplete. If it was a syndicate, under this leadership, that syndicate is coming to an end. We'll never allow that to happen, and we'll do that. So, where you have raised the issue, Member Makwala, I think there's someone raised the issue of Rastafari and other things. We are dealing with those things. But it's not to deal with them only, Member Ngobeni. We are reactivating the blacklisting of these companies. We are also taking a serious, firm position that this kind of business where we've got incomplete infrastructure, that they must be reduced, and part of reduction is going to be incorporated in the performance contract of the MECs and HODs. There must be no MEC and HOD under their leadership with an increase of incomplete infrastructure. We must have a decrease. So thanks for raising it, because it's something that we have raised with the MECs sharply on all the issues that we've raised. Thank you, Wanagorai. Kukuile. Ukamo Floyd Dogara. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Thanks. No, I was asking so that we can. So, Member Komorale, thank you so much for raising your hand that regardless of the delays, we are doing so much for cancer patients. That we have accepted our offer to meet and resolve all outstanding matters. And thank you for giving an update of the new hospitals that we are going to build in our province to ensure that we deal with these matters. Thank you, Wanakokhai. Honorable Ntsege questions our continued commitment to declare crime or to declare the fight against crime as our apex priority. Honorable members, if we can't fight crime, we can't attract new investment. If we can't fight crime, we can't attract families to sit in our province. Honorable members, the fight against crime is not a cosmetic fight. It's a serious fight. We can't be scared of criminals. We can't convert our own houses to be our own prisons. And therefore, the desire to deal with the issues of fighting crime, it's something that we'll prioritize. I take your kind advice. I don't know who's a member that said that we need a dedicated MEC to deal with this particular matter. I'm of the view that this being a priority, it must be attended appropriately, in a manner that will ensure that it's a priority. But I've appointed MEC Mama Bolo to be the backup to assist us and to ensure that on a day-to-day basis, he also attend to issue of fighting crime where I'm not available to fight crime. So there is a backup to deal with this matter because it's a real priority. Member Ntsege says that I've not spoken about drugs. It's in the speech, page 28. Go to page 28 of the speech on the document that is on the table. You'll see our commitments to deal with crime, and accept that when we speak about women, we must also add Helen Suzman. Member Evans, thank you so much for the support. Indeed, areas like Westbury, Reicher Park, and many other areas must be included in our fight to ensure that there is peace in these communities. You know, the crime that is taking place in former colored communities is unbearable. And we have to put the necessary resources to deal with this particular matter. So I really appreciate the areas that we have raised. Member Albert, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we know that the regress in support of the African National Congress will bring happiness to other people. But I want to tell you, your happiness might be short-lived. Just imagine a parliament without the ANC, where it's only you and EFF, and ask me whether that parliament will function. Just imagine a parliament without the ANC, and it's only you and MK party. And tell me if that function, that party, if that parliament will function. So we might be down, but we strongly believe that our policies remain the most advanced policies that South Africans can embrace. We are proud that what we have presented here, leave those that are arguing this side, what we have presented here and what we have presented as plans, I think there are many people that said they don't have those particular plans, are plans of national government. We don't want to work outside national government. And those particular plans were endorsed by the leadership of the DA at national level. So those that are here, they're either lost or they're not following their leaders on some of the plans that we've put here for the areas that they want. So, Member Albert, many investors feel free in Gauteng. You may say investors are not interested in Gauteng. I differ with you. Netflix, it's here. Google, it's here. Huawei, it's here. And all the banks are here. It's only one bank that is still in Stellenbosch. All the banks are here. So I'm saying to you, you can't declare Gauteng as an area where investors don't want to come. Actually, there is no province. Yes, I agree. That's what we are saying, and that's what we are doing. But you can't say we are not an investor friendly. The problem with people on my left is that they can't stomach reality that an official organ of government that is independent, they've declared that more jobs were created in Gauteng and lesser jobs were created in Western Cape. It's not good news for them. It's not good news for them. So we will continue to attract investors, and this report will confirm that more investors are creating, especially the financial sector. To us, that sector is performing miracles. And we need to harness and protect that sector. That is why the head office of ABSA that is in the CBD, we must protect them. They are going through their own difficulties in change of leadership, but we must protect them to ensure that what they're doing can continue to happen. Thanks, Member Dlamini, for your guidance, that you are prepared to work together, that you'll do everything to ensure that the challenges that are faced by our communities will tackle them together. Member Mamabulo, you captured a very important element. Those that chase a rat and forget to protect the investment that we have. So I don't want to go there, but to appreciate also the role that we've played in bringing the name of Ruth First in this particular debate. We want to thank you. And the commitments that you are leading to bring back CBD to our task, the commitment to get lighting there, the commitment to add more CCTV cameras, the commitment to have 2,500 law enforcement agencies deployed in the CBD. We really appreciate that, and we'll deal with those issues. Member Posh, let me leave it there. Let me leave it there. Ayanda, I take your concern, and thanks for inviting people that we have invented. Member Ali, sorry. Ayanda Ali. Thanks for inviting people that were here. We have just demonstrated something that irritates me, where people come with ideas. And if you tell them these ideas are not going to work, you don't understand how government functions. They go on social media and say, no, this government don't succeed. We give them ideas, they reject them. When their ideas collapse, who get blamed? You articulated it. You blame all of us. You insult all of us. You lied, you lied, you lied, you lied, you lied. And lying is a serious thing. It's a serious accusation. And I can tell you, and I wish, when I saw your tweets and other things, I said to the team, make the document available to Member Adley, so that she has an understanding that this was a proposal that had nothing to do with government. It's people that said, government, if you put an extra rent, will bring 5 rand. These are the investors that are willing to come. And you give them opportunity, that does not succeed. But we want to clear it to those people that are going through these difficulties that will not abandon them. We'll find ways of bringing them, because township economy is not about sponsorship only. We are proud, Member Ali, that you can go to each and every township. There is a formal a mall in major townships. It's out of our own hard work. It's not sponsor shops. But we must acknowledge as well that those that are investing in our township are going through difficulties of protection fees. And we are proud that the kingpin on protection fees in Mamelodi and other areas, they're in jail because of our intervention. So we'll never abandon township economic development. And we are the only province that have invested in this particular law, and will continue to do it. But let those that bring proposals to us bring solid proposals so that they don't leave this government in disrepute, like the issues that we have just said and attended to. And I want to apologize to them that they're going through this pain, but the team is working in rectifying this situation. And I'm glad that you have gone to the public protector. That's the correct way, if you feel that something is not done correctly. Member Rasilangwan, let me put this on record. The Department of Education does not build schools. Unfortunately, she left, so I can't respond to somebody that is not. Member J. Miller, I really appreciate your passion on matters of agriculture and matters of environment. I said it to the team, and I said to the MEC responsible for environment, that a green GP is possible. We need to clean all our rivers. We need to clean anything that we have to protect the environment. What is happening in Val River and Val Dam is completely unacceptable. That we need to protect and promote all the necessary campaigns that were spoken about. That's the mandate of the new MEC of Environment. But we need to clean our province. Our province, it's dirty. We need to clean it. We can't be green if we are not investing in our industry. So that is why the green scorpions are going to be resuscitated. We are putting in necessary resources to punish those that are harming our environment and to ensure that we have the necessary resources to attend, to gather evidence and take some of these matters to court. But what encouraged me is when all the premiers, all the executive mayors and ourselves, we agreed that waste in our province will be converted into energy. That all the waste that will come from, because waste is new money, will be convened to one area and we use that to convene, and the MEC is giving that particular trust. So I appreciate your guidance and we'll work on those particular issues. I can't respond to Member Makwala. He's no longer in the House, so he's not taking matters serious, so let's leave it there. Thanks, Member Ramokgopa. The issue of unemployment is our target. It remains one. Thanks for always reminding us that we need to create jobs and at all times provide the necessary resources that are needed then. As I said, Member Muriat, criticize us as you wish. Condemn us as you want. But the reality is, you are still heard that you are not part of this government. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Premier. Okay, thank you very much, Premier. Honorable members, that concludes the business for the day. The date for the next sitting will be on Tuesday, on the 3rd of September, and the meeting will start at 10. The House is now adjourned. Ke a le leboga.